Hey, what's up?
You got
It's still doing music.
it is. So we're not live yet. It's just
No, we are live. Sorry. It's oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
I felt like it was about to drop and get really bassy.
Yeah, oh there we go.
Wah, 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 wah.
Oh, I'm also getting some feedback. Do you have headphones?
I don't. Sorry, but my speakers are off. See, this is why I don't use Restream anymore. I remember every show that I used to do in the beginning. I used to use Zoom in the beginning. Originally, it started with Ben Stein. You know Ben Stein? You remember him from childhood? Mueller.
I'm trying to think, is there maybe you could even listen to on your phone and with your like earbuds or something?
Hey, I'm on a show. Can I give you a call back? Are you stopping by? Oh, come by. Yeah. You're absolutely welcome. Bye. All right. My mother's probably going to stop by for the cats. You guys figure it out. So we're live right now. That's cool. I hope someone clips that.
Sorry. um so do you have like earbuds for your phone? You can like either listen through YouTube or you can actually have a Restream link on your
No,
phone.
I don't. Sorry.
Okay. Um,
Is this better for you?
let's see.
I'm doing.
Oh wait, I think that works.
How's this?
Okay, sorry. Sweet, awesome.
Okay. See, this is the power of Ecamm. Ecamm gives me all the controls over my video environment, your video environment. I could literally do the coolest shit. Like, watch this. I'm just going to do this right now.
If you hit the thing, you can actually share your screen if you want.
Check it out. I don't need to share my screen. I just do this.
Oh dang, that's cool.
Boom. I could adjust the size of it too. I can move it all over my screen. You see what I'm saying?
That's pretty legit.
I know. Check this out. You want to see some crazy stuff? Oh my God, we're talking. Oh, I have a real example I want to show you. What is it? Oh, I want to let you know that Hitler visited, the Grand Mufti of Palestine visited Adolf Hitler. Look, here's a picture of my banned video site. You could go stream all my content. Here's a picture of Adolf Hitler, meeting with the Mufti, trying to, you get what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah,
here it
no,
is. Check this one out. Look at how many views InfoWars has.
yeah,
Alex Jones, 4.4 billion views. You know what I'm saying?
no, that's pretty legit.
Cam is legit.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
It's okay to take the advice from the Jew. You'll go far if you do. In this
There's no
world.
like Israeli spy software in it that's gonna like hack my
Cam is
computer.
totally goyish and safe.
Okay, cool. um, yeah, so I'm really glad you came on. That's it's totally awesome because I don't know. I think like there's a lot of questions that people have, and it's I mean even just for me, I grew up on the West Coast. Even just like how people think on the East Coast is just a completely different thing to me. And so I think the United States is kind of an interesting position where we have so much global influence, but we're like isolated, like both by geographically, but also culturally from the rest of the world, these different places where we have so much say, right? I mean, World War II, we could have came in on either side and made the difference, right? And so, but did Americans know which side to be on? I don't necessarily
It was
want to
pretty
get,
obvious what side to be on. I mean, Japan chose a side. The
yeah,
Western expansion into that of Japan following their brutal war and genocide in China. That was
mhm,
the generation of absolute genocide. That's
yeah,
why when we use genocide in today's modern world, it pales in comparison to it's like if you took today's top UFC fighter and put him in the ring with an ancient, like the lowest ranking Roman legion ancient warrior.
Yeah.
The Roman legion would wipe the floor of him. He'd probably be built like we were just different creatures then. You know what I'm saying? Like even by any measure of today's standards, things have deteriorated. So like they would call a genocide 50,000 people, but in the generation of the Holocaust, 6 million Jews were killed in Germany. 8 million Jews were killed in Russia under Stalin, in the USSR under Stalin. 60 million white people were killed throughout Europe in bombing raids and all sorts of things. China, millions of people were killed. Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, millions of people were killed. I mean, we're talking about millions upon millions. We're talking about like hundreds of millions of deaths just like 80 years ago. That's a genocide. You know, like
Right. And that's
we appropriate these terms, but yeah, like so Japan was finishing its genocide in China and set its sight to become the complete, utter hegemon of the Pacific. And my grandfather, bless his heart, he was a Kohen, which is the priestly class of Jews, in World War II decided that, you know, they're going to do the draft and it's more of a man to go on his own. So he enlisted and he fought in World War II on the Pacific. So, you know, this question that people LARP on the internet, oh, did we choose the wrong side? These people attacked us. Japan was already allied with the Germans. Like, it's just such low level. That's why it is Jew hatred. Because also, Hitler was like Nero. He literally ruined the German people for like 80 years. Germany is like now just starting to recover as a nation. And it was the food plants. He didn't have to burn down the food plants. Hitler knew he was losing power. He knew he was going to lose the war. And so he just started to destroy all the infrastructure of the German people so that the Western nations wouldn't get it. Like, why do people think that's a good leader? That's a leader that clings. That's Nero. Nero's not a good leader. Nero's like the worst of the Roman emperors. He destroyed the city out of protest because he's not allowed to rule. That's tyranny. So people like to say, oh, did we? It's such a crazy, crazy debate. Did we choose the right side in World War II? Tucker's always on it. He's got that stupid, whatever, that fake scholar who's always on it that everybody thinks is like the best scholar in the world. It's so funny too, man, because like if you go out on the internet and you are like a moderate scholar or you publish a book about like Holocaust factualities or did we choose the right side, people put you on their shoulders. They parade you around the town. And it's like, they like to think like, you know, World War II was something that happened on our block. You know, did we choose the right side? We were fucking attacked in Pearl Harbor. Did we have people like this? Oh, the U.S. did Pearl Harbor. The U.S. knew. The U.S. knew. Do you think that the U.S. wanted to lose all those soldiers? We lost so many soldiers compared to Vietnam. Vietnam wasn't a tragedy compared to World War II. And World War II wasn't anything compared to World War I as far as death count is concerned. You know, if World War I and II never took place, the population of Earth would be like 30 billion people.
Yeah.
I think meditate on that one for a minute.
That's pretty crazy.
And everybody wants to go back in time and be like, you know, quantum leap time travel, try to fix the past and say Hitler was right and we chose the wrong side, man in high castle. We're in the best timeline. Hitler was not the best.
For me,
if Hitler was in control of America, and let's say, you know, like half the people didn't want to go use one bomb to blow up the Iranian nuclear site. So there's like protests across America, right? So like to say that like not every German was involved in to say every German supported Adolf Hitler is a disgrace to truth, because there were abstentionists everywhere, right? So let's just say you do go to war. Let's say you're in the other party and you're the leader of the other. Let's say Joe Biden goes to war, right? And Joe Biden goes to war and you don't want to go to that war. But Joe Biden went to that war and it fucked shit up. It was like it was like so brutal, so much death that like it utterly like destroyed the ancient world, like absolutely destroyed like all the ancient buildings, churches, legacy sites, just total rampant destruction, right? Such a loss to the collectivity of humanity. So let's just say he goes to war and then he loses the war. And instead of resigning, like you'd be like, Biden, you must resign. You must resign now. But instead of resigning, he literally demolishes every food store in the United States, every like manufacturing plant, blows up the bridges so that basic people can't even cross the bridge. Like every major infrastructure gets destroyed. That's what Adolf Hitler did when he realized that he wasn't going to be king. The moment he realized that his kingdom is expired and he was defeated and it was taken from him, the moment that it expired, he the moment that it expired is when he decided to destroy all of Germany. All of Germany. I mean, he wreaked havoc on the German people for years to come. So, like, I hope that goes into your assessment is if people chose the right side in World War II, you know, like, is that, hold on one second. Hey, if you guys don't mind, Library Voices, because, hey, your conversation's live being broadcasted right now. So either go back over there or like, it's okay. This is how much of a celebrity I am now, though. Like on a live podcast, I'll just like interrupt it to handle my personal stuff. Okay, my mom, she's so wise. She just told me self-praise stinks.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. Hey, can you shut that door and guys keep it on the quiet? Seriously. Like for real. We had a major medical thing happen over here and I'm like on a farm. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I started like after COVID, like I escaped Beverly Hills. It was like really a tragedy what they did to the city.
Yeah.
And so I moved out here to the farm and got all these animals. Like I was gonna go be a farmer and everything. And of course, two of the cats had a litter, and just it's been wreaking havoc. I mean, they were sick. It's been tough. You ever been on a farm?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I grew up, we had pigs. We had,
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So I had a flock of chickens, a flock of turkeys, and then that's where I've been at. I wanted to get a dairy cow so I can make my own cheeses and stuff like that, but I don't think the place I'm at is substantial for that. But
yeah, a lot of people around where I live have cows because it's like a tax write-off.
I live in a rural area, actually, but I live in a semi-rural area. Like I live on the border of suburban meets rural.
Yeah, same.
So, but the goal was always like 1,000 acres somewhere, and just I'm busy, people. Like leave me alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I don't know why more people don't want to spread out and just find a place to be on their own, you know, like kind of like the Amish. I mean, I don't want to go as far as the Amish, but you know, I mean,
mind control.
Yeah. I mean, there's just certain that's actually one thing I think I mean, depends on where we want to go. I have questions about a lot of things, you know, one just like the history of kind of the gateway between the East and the West, you know, that it was like the Holy Land kind of forever just because of trade. Whether, you know, it was Lycia or whatever, just like that Mediterranean Sea was so easy to ship things around and whatnot that, you know, I mean, for me, it's like completely unrelatable to have so many neighbors that like know you and want to take you over. Right. And, I mean, I think perspective wise, you know, if people were growing up in the Levant, I mean, life probably sucked under the Assyrians and stuff, you know, and different things. So, it kind of different cultures kind of emerged, right? If you came to America and you're just like isolated, it's a lot easier to have a very peaceful, very like you don't even talk about really war. Like a lot of Christians, at least in the United States, it's like they don't even really see voting as like a war. A lot of them, which is interesting. I think that's also another question I have is just like I think that it's pretty easy to understand American politics because there's just like left and right. Either you believe in transgenderism, abortions, that kind of stuff, and social services and lots of spending, or you don't. Whereas like there's like several parties in Israel, and I don't think like it'd be really easy for anyone around the world to get involved in American politics and kind of sway it left or right, or, divide, infiltrate one side or the other. Whereas like with Israeli, like I feel like most people just have no idea even like how the party structure works or who's really part of it.
Right. That's like the difference between like coalition governments,
Mm-hmm.
which are like, for instance, like one person or one party might win the popular vote, but then 3 or 4 parties can band together and shut the government down unless they get to be a part of the prime minister. And that's why Israel's always in like this, like the people are like always just thrown against each other and party and party and party. There is something to like 2-party rule that has a benefit. That's a smart outlook. I never thought of it that way, but there are so many different parties in Israel. It allows for more people to have a representation when it comes to like local things, like municipality issues and stuff like that. I was talking to my friend earlier today about oh, they have me on this thing. He said he's going to debate me. I said it was a discussion. It was supposed to, now he's using the word debate. I'm so sick of this Jesus debate shit. I'm like up to my head in it. It's so annoying. It's like, oh, another person that's going to try to tell me that I'm about to burn in hell. It's like, step in line, buddy. It's like so much. It's drowning. And I was telling my friend, I was like, we were talking about like wastewater reclamation, like a basic civil thing, like I found out in California that California is like recycling its water. And there's some cities like Oceanside, California, where they like are using potable water, recycled water as the majority space of potable water. And I was saying to my friend, like, this is so crazy. Like, we're next to the gigantic Pacific Ocean, and instead of finding cheaper ways to desalinate, they would rather force us to drink toilet water. Like, so like on basic stuff like getting municipality stuff done, sometimes having a multi-diverse set of parties allows for more voices to come to the table in a fair like that, like water reuse or water reclamation or recycled water. Like, but here in California, it's a one-party system. So they're like, you're going to drink toilet shit water. And now we're like, all the cities are like adapting their there's like a whole program in California since 2017. They've had this into play to like put us on toilet water to drink and to shower with. It's like fucking gross, but like Jesus and the Jews, like what kind of distraction can we tune into?
So
Now?
for me, I'm more interested in like even just so say you have all those different members of the coalition government, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do they all get intelligence from like we would have like a Speaker of the House or whatever, and so it's like kind of easier for both sides to kind of get filled in on what's going on. Mm-hmm. Is that similar in Israel where
yeah opposition
like
parties are informed, all that stuff? Yeah, there's proper disclosures. That's one of the things about government that separates like the affairs of government from the affairs of people, is like there's just so much more disclosure. Even when there's less disclosure, like they still owe us, like, to say, hey, we arrested this guy Jeffrey Epstein, like, oh, why did you do that? Because he was a pedophile, and he was blackmailing governments of the world. And you to get what I'm saying? Like there's like a process of disclosure in government where like if I do something, I'm not going to tell my neighbor. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna like report to my neighbor, hey, just so you know,
So, but to do disclosure, right, you have to do like evidence gathering. For example, like, I know that, I mean, I think in Jewish culture, there's a tradition of burying people quickly, right? So, but that would mean less time for evidence gathering, right?
There's disclosure. I'll be honest with you. If you want, you made specific intelligence gathering and I kind of diverted to notifications.
Hmm.
But intelligence shares, yeah. There, truth is I really question a lot about Israel's intelligence apparatus.
Hmm.
Israel has multiple intelligence agencies that generally do different functions and have acquired power on their own. But I also think that Israel's intelligence agencies have a tremendous influence from foreign entities. I think Israel in general has a tremendous influence from foreign non-Jewish entities. And that's something that I'm outspoken about. Something so public is just like the Daimler connection.
Hmm.
Mercedes-Benz after World War II, like Mercedes-Benz in parts of restitution helped, like there were like lots of pretty much every car in Israel is a Mercedes-Benz. Like the Mercedes-Benz in Israel is like the Honda Civic in America. You know what I'm
Interesting.
saying? It's just like a basic car. And it's like a full out Benz. You know what I'm saying? So, and the reason for that is America creates the luxury brand of Mercedes-Benz. We have all sorts of import duties and tariffs that create specific restrictions on the automotive industry. So certain cars are cheap and certain cars are expensive. So we artificially created that culture, but in like Israel, Mercedes-Benz, they're just like, you got to go to get a car, you go to the dealership. It's going to be a Mercedes-Benz, so I understand the process of restitution from World War II, and that's what they claim is the reason. Really, it was Shimon Peres who passed away, who really brought Mercedes-Benz in the big capacity to Israel. And Mercedes-Benz is Daimler AG. It's a Nazi corporation.
Right.
It became Mercedes-Benz as a way to like kind of hide their past from building the Hitler war machine.
Hmm.
So that's just like one place of undue influence in Israel from a private entity. Also in a company like Pfizer, in a parliamentary situation, we're a coalition government. Like if you were a mega corporation, like would you, like you'd have like I every country has different laws.
Hmm.
So like which ones are the easiest? How do you manipulate all the governments of the world? So Israel, Pfizer was one of those companies, another German company, German American company that had a tremendous amount of undue influence in Israel. Even more so than the Israeli biopharmaceutical companies that produced vaccines for COVID, that produced COVID technologies, even just vaccines in general. It wasn't even that the entire buffet of vaccines were offered. There was a like ultra minority of AstraZeneca that was given to the marketplace to show like, oh, there's diversity in the marketplace, like is like a total lie and scam. But it was clear that Israel sold out to Pfizer.
Hmm.
And I have a lot of personal experience with this because at one point I held a directorship inside of the Israeli medical establishment. It mostly had to do with like the it's not the Israeli government. It's like there's a hospital in Jerusalem, but that hospital, it's called Shari Tzedek Hospital. It's
Hmm.
a very important hospital. It treats everyone, Arabs, Jews, everyone, Christians, Muslims, everyone.
Hmm.
Anybody who's injured. They're very serious about the Hippocratic Oath.
Yeah.
So they administer Israel's medical foreign aid because pretty much everybody's in a lot of people are reservists in the IDF. So Dr. Ofer Marin, who's the second in command of that hospital, he's the assistant head of Shari Tzedek, happens to be the commanding medical general of the IDF. So he was my boss, actually, my ultimate boss. Like there were people who had like seniority over me, but in my directorship over this organization called American Committee for Shaarei Tzedek. We were just like we were just really like I was the director of national campaigning, so
Mhm.
my campaigns were really like promoting Israeli medical foreign aid, promoting Israeli medical technology. But during my directorship, actually, was when Ebola happened in Africa, and Israeli private enterprise like rushed to save the day, and that was truly the systemic anomaly that Obama didn't anticipate, was
Mhm.
rapid innovation, and it was a pill form. That same company also went and tried to get into the COVID market, and they were bureaucratically stopped by the Israeli government. But they ultimately saved the world from that Ebola outbreak during Obama. The Ebola outbreak during Obama was supposed to be the zombie apocalypse that they were trying to create then.
Mhm.
That was, Bill Gates is very involved in Africa. I don't know if you know that. With
Yeah. Oh yeah.
his vaccine programs are very active in Africa. So they wanted to make the zombie apocalypse, and it was Israel, whether that was intelligence agencies or just Israeli private enterprise or Israeli private enterprise in conjunction with Israeli intelligence agencies. It definitely stopped, nipped in the bud quick, the global zombie apocalypse that was scheduled during Obama's first term, originating from Africa, you know. And then you remember
Mhm.
those famous scenes, Obama hugging the Ebola patient and all that stuff. And, because they stopped it. Like the Israeli government stopped it. So there are like sovereign elements inside of Israel, and then there are unsovereign elements, like World Economic Forum influences,
Mhm.
like Ehud Barak, for example. Ehud Barak is a major World Economic Forum. Ehud Olmert. Funny, they all are Ehud, but both of these people have been like very like regressive to and to the Israel, even Ariel Sharon for that matter, who was once a top general, the pride of Israel's military. Maybe he was just masterful at war, but he certainly was the one who put us in the situation we're in today. Moshe
Mhm.
Dayan was a major general in the 1967 war. He was paraded as a hero of Israel, Eye Patch McGee, and it is because we conquered the Temple Mount. We reclaimed the Temple Mount. And there's pictures on that is Man in High Castle stuff. You ever like if you go on the internet, you can find pictures of Israel conquering the Temple Mount, having full control over the old city of Jerusalem, and we don't live in that world, but nobody
Mhm.
fought us to take that away. It's like so Man in High Castle. You've seen the pictures, right?
What year is that? That
1967 here, I'll throw it up on the screen.
when you say the Temple Mount, you mean like the mosque, the Al Aqsa Mosque?
Yeah.
So like
What?
no one tried to stop you guys from going
Oh,
in the mosque.
no, I'm serious. Look, check out my screen share. Am I on the camera with the
Yeah.
screen share? Can you see all these pictures?
Yeah.
We took the Temple Mount, dude. We took the Temple Mount. It was this picture right here.
Mhm.
These are Jews. We took it. It was ours again.
Yeah.
The holiest of holies. But for some strange reason, in the world we live in today, we don't have a temple, and we don't even have prayer rights on the Temple Mount.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing I am pushing with. I'm pushing for. I don't want to say I'm involved with, because I also want to say that I'm spearheading.
Mhm.
But it's to build a synagogue on top of the Temple Mount. There's no reason we should have to pray at the Western Wall. It's our
Mhm.
holiest site. We're allowed to go inside. We're the dominant military we're the fourth most powerful military in the world.
Yeah.
And I have a ton of arguments if people don't believe it. We could defeat any European power. The first three: United States,
Mhm.
Russia, and China, then Israel, and then the European powers, probably England, and then something with like Germany and France. I don't know. I don't know who would be better, but none of the European powers are capable of regime change in other countries, which was just called winning a war.
Yeah.
It's a new way of saying winning a war,
Yeah.
But Israel just defeated 6 of its enemies, like We have space lasers, but we used pagers. And we're called tyrants and genociders. We could have melted the flesh off of their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
We could have not used our space lasers, and we could have used our 400 nuclear missiles that are on ICBMs that could touch any point of the Earth, including the moon's surface. Israel is one of the only powers in the world that can nuke the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, meditate on that. Not even Kim Jong-un can nuke the moon. But Israel can nuke the moon if we wanted to.
That's kind of the question, though,
And we
is
didn't
like,
even use one of those weapons to take out 7 of the biggest players in the Middle East at the same time in a 6-month period.
yeah.
And in Gaza, we went block by block.
Mm-hmm.
And then we removed them from their houses, and then we demolished the homes with TNT. So you have a city of 2.3 million people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like 500,000 homes are like missing. But like the highest numbers are 58,000 deaths in Gaza. You get what I'm saying? And that's like including their soldiers and civilians, but that's a genocide and it's a war. It's a war for some, it's a genocide for TV. You get what I'm saying? And Israel did that type of a battle while systematically taking out 6 of the region's hegemons, some of them with like pagers.
Mm-hmm.
And Iran came out just recently with more stories on these pagers. Iran was trying to get Hezbollah to use their pagers. And Hezbollah was like insisting that they had a better deal on pagers and they're sovereign. And they don't. This was an interview that took place in Iran from a top Iranian general. It was all in Farsi. And it just came out. You could look it up. They have translations of it on the internet. Not the video, maybe not. I don't know. They're probably not. They don't want that to get out. But literally, like he was saying that, he himself was the general in charge of communications with Hezbollah, and they were trying to switch over the pagers of Hezbollah, and Hezbollah was like pledging their autonomy, like, we are sovereign. We will buy our own pagers. Thank you. We're in this war together. Like like we're in this war together, but we are a sovereign power. But Iran, like, begging them to use their pagers, and then like we took them out by that. Like,
so
just Israeli.
How many double agents does Israel have within Hezbollah?
Must be a lot.
Yeah,
must be a lot.
Because it's like, oh yeah, we'll take all your weapons, Iran, but we won't take your pagers. A lot of
these agents that you're saying are actually defectors. They're not Jewish.
I mean, I don't want to say that's worse, but
it's not, dude.
So I mean, you
are applying American geopolitics. Your borders are Mexico and Canada to Israel's geopolitics and saying, why aren't they acting the same as I would? Like, get real, dude.
No, what I'm saying is like that there's like the tragedy of game theory, right? Where it's like, let's say that we both have a button. I can either press a button that gives you $1 million, or if I press if I give you $1, then I get that $1 million. If you give me also the $1 million, right? Like, it ends up to where basically selfishness always wins, and we would both end up with $1 because we're both selfish, right? And so, if we go with like whoever wins the war, period. Well, then all of a sudden it's like, you would just get, China and Russia would just start nuking everyone and be like, all right, yep, we won, and no one will ever rise up. We'll keep them all in the Stone Age, right? And I think that's where the idea of kind of society comes in, and it's like, hey, how can we hedge this game theory so that we don't end up with the worst case scenario?
So, in the management of the worst case scenario, as an American, right?
Yeah.
When you know that Israel does have such a button in real life that they could press, that if they pressed that button, every country, every government in the Middle East, every person that could pick up a sword would be dead. It would probably take like 7 or 8 of the arsenal of 400 nuclear warheads on IC. Shoot them up into space, and then they just, Mecca's gone, Tehran's gone, Pakistan is gone, like all of it's gone. So Israel could press that button, doesn't. It's dealing with hostile threats that are instigating conflict with it. Israel's not instigating the conflict. Hezbollah, Hamas, Syria, Bashar al-Assad, its neighbors have gone to war with it multiple times since its origination, right? It's not using those super heavy-duty weapons that we know it has. Everyone knows it has, right? So as an American, like, wouldn't you be... And at the same time, they're following that game theory approach. You know, they are not wanting to press that button and destroy it for everyone. They're leading with trade like the Abraham Accords, which started in Bahrain and then moved to the UAE, and now Saudi Arabia wants in because they're making so much money, and Qatar wants in because they're making so much money. They're like, oh my God, these Jews aren't so bad. They're good at things. You know, and people want to hate on Jewish excellence, but the best Jews live in America. We're American Jews. You know what I'm saying? They want to chase us. Where do we want us to go to Mexico and make Mexico the greatest country in the world? Like, we are a part of this country. We've helped build it, you know, and we're for it. I literally broadcast with an American flag behind me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's I'm a 7th generation Jewish American. I'm so proud to be American. 7 generations in America is a big deal for Jews. It was an early migration to America, very early migration. I'm the 5th generation from Los Angeles. That gives me tremendous pride. That's like unheard of in LA. There's only like a few families, like the Hellmans are like older than us.
So with like the Samson option that you're talking about, like, isn't there supposedly a nuke in LA?
No, dude.
No.
There's no, these people are LARPers. They're stupid. They can only capture the lowest IQ. And that's why broadcasters speak this stuff, because they are afraid to tackle real intellectual conversations. Like, why are we using wastewater, recycled wastewater in our drinking supplies? They would rather talk
but
about,
you said that
Jews have nukes under LA. That's so stupid.
But didn't you just say that Israel has the capability?
Let me tell you something about LA, okay?
Yeah.
Los Angeles is actually the biggest Jewish community in the world, in the United States.
Yeah.
New York has the most Jews, but they are 19% of the population of the city. I'm sorry, in New York, they're 9% of the population of the city. There's so many people in New York, and out of the amount of Jews compared to the amount of people, it's 9% Jewish. Los Angeles is 17% Jewish. There's less people in Los Angeles than there are in New York, but there are more Jews per capita. It's 17%. And on top of that, like, the real estate is all ours. We built the entire city. Like, it's literally from the ground up, construction's Jewish. And if you want to do, I did a huge study earlier in the year about, like, people want to LARP on like Jews and Jewish money and real estate. And like, oh, Jews are weak accountants only, you know, like on like a Family Guy, this stupid loser, Seth MacFarlane, this dumb goy. He's like, the Jew is the accountant. I'm like, bro, the Jew is the land builder, the construction worker. Like, every Israel in America works in construction. Every Israeli who became an American, who immigrated from Israel, like, works in construction. But I did this study on Jewish buildings in the United States, residential and commercial, that were built by Jews. Not like financed by Jews, but built by Jews, by Jewish companies, and who are owned by Jews because they were built from the ground up by a Jew who made some money and built some thing. And the number is 15 to 20% of American buildings were built by Jews.
Interesting.
And that's that is verifiable on title and deed in every county registrar in the United States. We helped build this country. We were part of the foundation of this country. We're so important in this country.
It's funny that you mentioned Family Guy, because
love you guys.
The head writer of it is I can't remember what his.
I'll call you. Bye. Sorry.
I can't remember what his first name is, but his last name's Goldstein, and I know that because he harasses me online, and it's like super odd. So it'd be him that was writing that into Family Guy. That's why he wrote in a reference to Bed Bath and Beyond, which is a stock that I invested in. So it's just like super weird.
What's his name?
Anyway,
You invested with this guy? Is that what you're saying?
No. This guy, like of a Family Guy. His last name's Goldstein. I could look up what his first name is, but
you want me to call the Elders of Zion right now and look him up?
sure. No, he's from the same. Oh shoot, there's like a Jewish finance Greek letter society that he's part of. The same one that. Oh man,
I know what you're talking about. There's a Jewish fraternity.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're talking
It's
about?
like
The Jewish college
Alpha
fraternity?
Phi, Alpha Kappa Phi, or something. I don't
Alpha
even remember
Delta
one.
Phi or something like that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So it's just.
I'll tell you what it is right now. It's they're very proud of this. They're very proud. They're like really into it.
Yeah, no, I know, and they say they send my regards. So it's like who knows? Maybe
Alpha
they'll show
Epsilon
up.
Pi, A.E. Pi. Yeah, A.E. Pi. The A.E. Pi people.
So that's a good question. So what's your relationship to them, right?
I didn't join. Like I'm
Like,
not.
could you have joined? Do you know people that are part of it?
Tons, dude. It was like if you went to like there's so many schools that fraternities are really important. There's Christian fraternities, this fraternity, that fraternity. They're like a Jewish fraternity, and they were like really cool. They're like, they would throw great parties and stuff like that. And they're great guys today. I know a ton of A.E. Pi guys.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, like he spends like time to make compilations of videos, like trying to make me look bad, and other people like Bill Pulte and.
What are you doing, Nikki? That might not work. No, not that.
You hoping to pick out an outfit?
No, we have a medical thing going on, and somebody's helping me take care of like these sick kittens right now.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, it's been so sad. I lost kittens. Like I had a kitten that got sick before she gave birth, and it was like been a medical emergency almost for like a week and a half now. So I have somebody helping me with it today. Like I said, I have too many responsibilities to debate you. So
yeah, no, it's all good.
Debate.
I mean, so I guess that goes to politics. I mean, there's so many questions. But I mean, I guess bringing up the fraternity. Let's see.
Big shout out to A.E. Pi. Who's the A.E. Pi guys in the house?
Yeah. Is like
you want me to not have love for my brothers? Is that it? Like you're
no.
What Jewish group are you willing to speak out against? Okay, what kind of map of Jews are you showing me now? This is so stupid.
So no, this is just game. So I'm just so genuinely, I'm trying to figure out. I mean, there's lots of things. Like one is, do you know about GameStop and Ryan Cohen?
I see Yossi Farrow. That's a really cool Jew.
He seems really nice. I mean, I
want to do a Shabbos with Yossi. These are all Yossi Farrow's tweets.
Yeah, that's the point. So I saw this pop up. So Ryan Cohen.
Oh my God, Yossi Farrow, hit me up. Let's do a Shabbaton. These anti-Semites are trying to get me to call you out, man. Let's do a Shabbaton.
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to call him out. I'm wondering what like the so here's the question, right? So I'm trying to figure out. It's really odd to me, just that like, what's more important, like having the same DNA or like being on completely different political sides of the aisle, right? Like one side's like, yeah, let's transition 5-year-olds.
Show me that everything is pointing to Epstein.
Not everything, just these ones.
Okay, so like you're leaving this. If you're gonna leave this slideshow on while we talk casually, we're gonna talk about this slide. So why do you have all these people on this slide with Jeffrey Epstein and all the arrows pointing to Jeffrey Epstein? And like my boy Yossi Farrow is like sitting there too. Like, are you that like every Jew is in Epstein's club type of a guy? Like even like you have Zelensky on here too. You got Zuckerberg on here too. I don't even know who this. Oh, you got Yossi Farrow. Who is that guy? Is that Bill Ackman?
Yeah.
You got Bill Ackman. Everything pointing to Epstein. Like
So no,
it is so sick. It's like take this off and we can talk about it. But like we get your message that you think that all these people, because they're Jews, connect to Epstein. And Yossi Farrow's in a picture with every single one of them. My boy Yossi Farrow.
No, see, I'm not that. So I'm not saying.
Put on the regular screen, man.
All right, let's see. So my point is not that Yossi Farrow is connected to Epstein. It's just interesting that when someone's associated to Epstein or they're on completely so
Chabad is like they don't really, they do inreach, not outreach. They don't care about the non-Jewish world. They care about the Jewish world. And they have like this major agenda. Okay. And it was instituted by Rebbe Menachem Mendel Schneerson, the Lubavitcher Rebbe himself. And this agenda is to go after Jewish men and put tefillin on them. You know, the straps on the arms?
Yeah.
I can put mine on right now if you'd like to see it. So, what the Chabad rabbis do is they all compete. They go out and they meet Jews and they say, what type of a Jew can we bring closer to God? And putting these, it's called tefillin, wrapping these tefillin on the arms of these Jews. Sometimes it might be the first time that they'll wrap tefillin in years. Sometimes in their whole life.
Yeah.
In their whole life. And it is like an ancient custom I do it every single day.
Yeah.
There's a prayer ritual to say just to put them on. So what Yossi Farrow does is he goes around and he puts tefillin on everybody he can in the public. Like he's like super into like getting celebrities to put tefillin on. He found out that the Paul brothers were actually Jewish, that Jake Paul was Jewish, and he got Jake Paul to put tefillin on because Jake Paul's mother or his mother's mother or something like that was a Jew. And so he got him to put tefillin on. He put tefillin on Aiden Ross. You know, like in the world of Chabad, he's balling. Yossi Farrow is like the guy. You know,
right. No.
He's winning the tefillin. He is like implementing the agenda of the Rebbe. You know what I mean?
So my point is like in all different types of Christianity. I can't speak for all the different sects, right? But like, say there's like the sacrament, right? And there'd be like, you wouldn't be able to take the sacrament if you weren't worthy, right? Or you shouldn't take it, right? You know? And so it's like, if the tefillin is some sort of sacrament because it's sacred, right? Like, would it be like, you work with Jeffrey Epstein, like you literally run his hedge fund, like in the case of like Stephen Cohen, right? He literally ran the main hedge fund for Jeffrey Epstein. So
let me tell you about the empowerment of the sacrament of tefillin and the blood of the Jew. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein had Jewish blood. Nothing is said about his religion, but if Yossi Farrow put tefillin on Jeffrey Epstein, the power of the tefillin is so great, he would have collapsed to the floor. He would have turned himself in. He would have repented, and he would have been the biggest whistleblower ever. He would have told on every major corrupt individual, every single politician that was on his payroll. He'd break the whole system because tefillin has the power to change the heart's direction towards God. You know, the black box that everybody LARPs about? That's tefillin.
No, I know. I was actually going to make
sacrament that when aligned with Jewish blood, it's like two magnetics, and the thing gets straight. You know what I'm saying? That's tefillin. So when you put tefillin on like a big guy, like you had Bill Ackman, dude, even I would maybe consider putting tefillin on Bill Ackman. I'm not even Lubavitch. Like, that's such a baller move. You have the power to bring someone so close to God that their whole life changes. And you got guys like Michael Rappaport, right? Michael Rappaport found tefillin later in life. He found
Yeah.
God and tshuva and Judaism and all this later in life. And now Michael Rappaport puts tefillin on every single day and posts a picture on his social medias
Hmm.
with his tefillin on. And I follow it, and you read it and how it changes a person over the course of the. I think he started doing it off of October 7th, like as like a thing he took on for like to help the hostages or to, and then like you see the transformation of his life, and now he's like totally committed. Like Michael
Hmm.
Rappaport is probably one of the coolest guys I've ever seen in my life. At first, I thought he was like that liberal guy who had those one-liners about President Trump, who was just like
Hmm.
sworn to the. And then I was like, dude, this is a human being who can change. This is what. And then when you see that there's somebody who could change, especially somebody who can change so sincerely as it relates to God, which is clearly my most important mission here, then
I
it's like, wow, that's the type of person. It's like full spectrum, one from totally the opposite side to this is a guy, a leader I could follow. Like this guy has totally changed. I see his leadership now. He's a, Michael Rappaport. What a mensch.
it's kind of
And that's the
interesting.
power of tefillin. So big kudos. Shout out
Yeah.
Yossi Farrell. Let's do a Shabbaton.
It's just kind of interesting because from my perspective, right, and I'm sure a lot of other people, um, I mean, the only person even close to doing as bad a PR for Israel and Jews in general,
Is Jesus?
as Rabbi Shmuley, right? Like no one is making more Jew hatred in the world than Rabbi Shmuley, hands down, from our perspective. Like,
I was gonna say, like, there's so many. I have this friend, right? I'm not gonna
mhm,
say his name. He's like really close. He's super high up in the world of Trump land,
yeah,
beloved. And like I take stuff all the time, like because like I'm doing like big shit, right?
yeah,
And I got like the Jesus, like I went to him. He like I had to have like someone like that throw Jesus in my face. Like I brought a national security thing actually to him. Someone who I think is a major threat to American national security. That I
mhm,
asked him if he would look into him. And his initial response, and he said he was going to look into him because we spoke on the phone. It's so high up, dude. This is so high up. I can't even believe it. I'm so pissed. I'm so pissed for his honor. Like I won't, you know, I don't even know if I'm like, I could trust this guy anymore. He was somebody I looked up to. Somebody who like I like physically supported in my life. Like went out of my way to physically support them because I believe in them
mhm.
or believed in them. So I shot him a text about this person. Hey, did you look into him? And I was met with the Jesus pill, like,
So this guy's a
did
Christian.
you look into Jesus? And I'm like, bro, I came to you about a national security threat. What the fuck, dude? Save it for like when we're hanging out in person. Like, why are you putting this on a text chain? Like, what? Like, be for real with me, like, but yeah. So Christians, man, you want to say Shmuley does bad PR. You want me to talk bad about Shmuley too? And I got to tell you, Shmuley's so outrageous, but sometimes he does the greatest stuff ever, man. He's like, you got to be that person sometimes. I'm so grateful to Shmuley that like he's doing what Shmuley has to do. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Because he does a lot of things in the world, and it's all a part of the collective Shmuley. But in general, like for example, they call him the butt plug rabbi. Nobody ever like vindicates Shmuley. Shmuley wrote a book on how married people can stay married by increasing their sex life,
That's fine.
by investing into their sex life. The book is about monogamy, but it's about like trying to teach religious families like how to have sex. Like it's like a Kama Sutra for religious people and how it could save their marriage and create shalom bias, which is peace in the home, to
Mhm,
use it as a way to create peace in the home so that there's not fighting amongst the children and there's harmony and whatnot. So in this book, it talks about role playing, it talks about, like maybe go into this. And it's like backed by a rabbi for religious people to say, hey, like if like it's for with your spouse, It's okay to go nuts in monogamy, you know?
So I think like
And
the
so he
difficulty.
literally made the store because his audience was religious and they didn't know if it was even okay to buy it. And he made the stores like a public statement, like save your marriage. It's worth it to buy it to save your marriage. That's really what his butt plug business is really all about. It's a conjunction to his book, and people don't want to even like acknowledge what the entire mission statement of his thing is. I get it. It's weird that a rabbi sells dildos and stuff. I'm like not even that like sexually friendly to even like I'm not like like I think like, you know, that kind of shit is gross, dude. I'm not like, I'm a very modest man. Like when it comes to sexuality, like, you know, I am like another human being. Like I have sexual urges. I keep them, you know, it's the choice of a human being, you know, what they engage with. So like, I'm like, not like, you know, that type of, whatever, dude. It doesn't even matter, dude. The truth is like if my woman wanted me to go to a sex shop and get something to help us with our marriage, like it wouldn't be a butt plug, but it would be, you know, like but it would be like something like whatever it would be. Like maybe it would be like something obviously for her, you know what I mean? Like or whatever. Maybe if she wanted a butt plug, like if it was like, would you buy a butt plug for your wife to save your marriage? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, come on.
So I think
It's
that's
so
like.
crazy to think about. And it's like, okay, so Shmuley was a rabbi who said it's okay to do it. And he led by example to save his marriage. And he has a great family. Like his kids are great. Like they're all like outstanding people who do good in the world, give to charities, stand up for what they believe in, lead good lives, have happy families, great family time. I know Shmuley's brothers too. You want to know something? I met Shmuley many times. And one time I even interviewed to be the head of his organization, World Families Network. And like, it's a funny story. I told it on Ethan Ralph Killstream. Like, go see it there if you really want to see what happened. But it's a true story. But I've met him many times. His brothers, I know even more than him. These are such fine men. And his father was such an unbelievable guy. Like Shmuley's father was like a legend, such a good human being, like a builder of the community, like building the synagogues, like that type of a guy, like, you know, like life dedicated to Hashem. Every one of their descendants, they all keep the Shabbos. They don't have anybody who like strayed away from the family. You know, the families are super united on all fronts. Really, he does crazy stuff and he pisses people off and he rage baits everyone, you know?
So my main point is that like do you like LGBTQ stuff?
Do you even watch my show?
Well, I'm just saying is it weird for you to see Rabbi Shmuley at pride parades promoting LGBTQ stuff? Like
Yeah,
that
I had a
doesn't.
problem with that. I didn't like that. That was one of the things that Shmuley did that I didn't like, you know,
Mhm.
but like none of his kids are gay either.
So like how does I'm just wondering that's just my
Shmuley doesn't
question.
even have, I know Shmuley's whole family. I
Mhm.
even dated his niece when we were younger.
That's hilarious.
There's not a single gay member of their entire family. He's just trying to be inclusive, I guess. I don't know. He's like a radical guy. He does
Mhm.
radical things. But I know there's not a single member. I maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I know a lot of the cousins too. And the
Yeah.
ones from my generation. And you know, as if Shmuley's a I'm like in between generations. Like Shmuley, I'm halfway in between the age probably of Shmuley and his kids.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm like mismatched, you know, like what generation do I, but I know like some of the older kids and the older third generation and then like the cousins and like none of them are gay, dude. They all got married young and have like many kids. Like Shmuley has like probably over 20 grandchildren.
Mhm.
I know his father probably had like 60. I don't know. It's crazy. They had a lot of kids.
So
And every
so
single one of them, not one of them was gay. They
so
were
you're
all
saying
people who went to synagogue every single day, every single week.
So you're saying that him promoting LGBTQ stuff isn't bad because it's not affecting his
I'm not
family.
saying it wasn't bad. I wouldn't do it. You know, like I can't make another man's choices for him. I didn't like get behind it and say like, oh yeah, go Shmuley when you were doing that. But I just have had seen so much of Shmuley that like I give him the benefit of the doubt that he's always up to something. And you know, he's the most outspoken of his whole family. He's like the most outspoken of everyone. He's so crazy out there, you know, but like thank God his genetics are the way they are, you know, like he became Shmuley and I'm Adam King, you know, and we're both Jews. And you want to know the truth? There's really only 3 Jews like ultra deep in this ultra right conservative space. Myself, Ben Shapiro, and Shmuley Boteach, like in that order. And it's true.
But there's no way you can call Rabbi
Everyone
Shmuley
knows
ultra
us.
conservative.
All 3 of those people are known by every single anti-Semite.
But that's the thing that's so confusing for us. There's something in
And that's why when I feel like I'm in a foxhole and I look over and Ben Shapiro's over there and Rabbi Shmuley's over here, and I know that I'm like the most unvaxxed out of all of them, I'm like sitting here thinking to myself, if these are the guys that I have to survive with, brothers, Kulani biyachad, let's do it. I mean, like, well, I can't speak badly about Shmuley if he's the only one who speaks the right. I'm jealous of Shmuley. He gets more Alex Jones time than I have. I haven't gotten a single Alex Jones interview, even though I have almost 200 million views right now.
Huh?
Insane. Like and that's just my views. Those are my personal views. You know? So there's like a big, like kind of like an ignore Adam King campaign that fails everywhere. And it's like, what are we going to do about Adam King? You know, like, what are we going to do about that? You know, so I know Shmuley's got a lot of airtime with Alex. I wasn't this big always, but I became this big, you know? So
but do you see how that would be confusing for someone who's not Jewish to say that like that the most aligned people are Rabbi Shmuley and Ben Shapiro?
That on the Jewish side, the people that the anti-Semitic community highlights to the most degree. That's what I'm claiming.
So, but that's so
there's
that
others
means
too, but like as far as like I don't know, like now Bill Ackman is in the fray. Like it goes so far that Candace Owens accused me in writing that I was on the Bill Ackman invitation list and one of the main focalizers that plotted to kill Charlie Kirk. I didn't even know about this until she broke the story that there was even this meeting, and she's like, and threats were made. Threats were made. You know, and she like straight up said it on camera and then wrote it on paper. And then for a week, I said to every celebrity in the alt-right sphere, I wasn't there. And then 7 days later, she goes on her show and says it again. And she says that I was there. And I like vindicated myself to every major media player on the right. And then she's like, nope, okay. Adam King was still there. Yeah, he's probably there. It went to he was probably there. They use these like phrases probably because they're running propaganda on the public. And like, what do I have to do with it? The fuck do I have to do with it, Candace? Like I came out, and that's why, like, honest to God, like I don't want to talk shit, but like I see people accusing, like I saw a lawsuit on the internet. And like, I don't know, dude. There's so much defamation on the internet. It's like the internet is like all defamation, right? And it's like I'm not like putting a defamation lawsuit for that. And I have people telling me, "You want to know something, bro? Dude, I'm not gonna do it because I'm not gonna be one of those fucking cavemen that wave a munition on air." I did that one time when they shot at President Trump. I brought out my AR-15 on camera. I said, listen, I take this stuff very seriously. That's my president. The one time I ever showed an arm on camera. But like, there's a reason why. First of all, I can't afford like a full-time security guard. but you should see some of the things that I have to deal with. You know, thank God for like the police. You know, I have a wonderful police department. I've
Mhm.
had more than one incident happen because of my show. I don't publicize it. I don't, you know, that stupid loser, like, I don't even want to say his name. Every single one of these losers that became the leaders had interactions with me. Some had
Mhm.
interactions with me just as Adam King before they realized I was also awesome Jew. But as Adam King, you know, a band video talk show host who, you know, like had the debates with Nick Fuentes and all that stuff. Like then, like just they all wanted it. After every single one of them, man. Stu Peters 3 times he's still begging me. He's asking me right now if I could fly out to do a show with him. He wants to do a show with me again. He wants a contentious show with me again, a 4th one. And it's
So
like that
I
was
think
all before the awesome Jew stuff.
every time, like all the time I watch the tension, I think there's just like both sides literally have a fundamental misunderstanding of it's like incomprehensible for me, right? So how would I follow what Ben Shapiro and like what would it look like if I were to follow what Ben Shapiro and Rabbi Shmuley were perfectly aligned on?
They fight each other nonstop. They cannot get along at all. These two guys, like I'm in the foxhole with them, dude. They like are Shmuley's like constantly saying Ben Shapiro is responsible for all the anti-Semitism on the internet. And the internet wants to deal with Shmuley, Ben Shapiro, and myself. Nick Fuentes is like, when are you going to debate me, Ben Shapiro? Charlie Kirk. And then Charlie Kirk gets assassinated. And then Nick all of a sudden starts changing his tune. Think about that. And he's like been hawking the chine of Ben Shapiro. And now Ben Shapiro is saying, I will start going to campuses on my own dime. He's balling so fat, he drops a mill on TPUSA in the memory of Charlie Kirk. Whatever you guys want to do with it. You want to go to church with it? Go to church with it. He even says it online as a Jew. You know, he's like, here's a mill. And then he's like, I'm going on campuses to defend the legacy of free speech. That guy's got such a huge target on his back. Nick Fuentes has been saying all the time, why won't you debate me? I rocked up to you in the street when you were with your family. And because of that, you won't debate me, you coward? Like the dude's with his kids, bro. You're a teenager. You're freaking him out. He doesn't have his armed security with him. Get the, you know. And now Fuentes is like getting the rounds on everyone's show. He just did Tim Pool. You know what I'm saying? I got there first.
I just I don't know. I mean, I just think that like it seems almost irresolvable because it seems like if you say you, Ben Shapiro and Rabbi Shmuley are the right, right?
We're not the right though. There's so many more. The right is like there's so many people that were a part of the right. Like I wanted to say Elliot Broidy, what a leader, man. He got taken out, dude. That was so sad. I was so close to that guy. That was like a Jew on the right. He wasn't even religious.
But like no person, no white person,
his wife was very religious.
No non-Jew can say Rabbi Shmuley is part of the right. There's nothing about him
no, he would
that is right wing.
Right. No, he would be part of the right. He's totally part of the right. Yeah.
But see,
he's like him and Ben Shapiro are like centrist leaning right. That's what they are. I'm like the unvaxxed right. You know what I'm saying? That's like what I am. I'm just like, you know, I'm not whatever that is. I am that, and it is what I am.
But the main thing that is left and right is LGBTQ stuff.
But it isn't though.
That's because
like
you guys are redefining it.
Right, too. Like Trump he waved the LGBTQ flag at the Republican National Convention and changed everything. And now there's gays, like public gays. And the best part about Republican gays is they're not like waving their crotches on camera while they march through the streets. There's something different about those Republican gays than those liberal gays.
Right. And so
I'm not saying that it's all, you know, like that, but like the conservative gays, like, I get it. I don't know. I don't get it because I'm not really an ally of the community of gays. And I say the community of gays because I don't want to say the community as if like it's the community, because it's not my community and I'm not an
Mhm.
ally. I'm not so into it. I try to be tolerant of all people, you know what I'm saying? So like I just try not to involve myself with it. Like, to each their own. You know, you're all
So,
responsible yourself when you answer for God.
but
You know, where you
it's
come from and where you're going is a large part of the equation. But, you know, like I just, so like, you want me to say that Rabbi Shmuley should be like condemned for dancing in New York Times Square at the LGBT thing, waving the rainbow flag? I would say, hey Shmuley, that was one of the times I think you went a little bit too far, but I still support you. I get what you're trying to do because I follow you and I see your intentions and I judge the fruit of the tree, and the fruit of the tree is always pretty good. Usually, sometimes he does crazy shit, like he butterballed up to Bridget Macron and Emmanuel Macron for a minute, and then like 2 weeks later they were doing something he didn't like, and he was like, ah, "Fuck you" on the internet. He didn't say "fuck you," but it was like a major "fuck you." And I was like, "Why'd you just involve yourself with the Macrons just to walk in and say "fuck you"? He was just being real to himself, you know. He walks with that amount of confidence, you know what I mean? So like that's just Shmuley. That's who he is. But like at least he was able to say like that "fuck you" moment to the Macrons, and it was over Jewish affairs. It wasn't a. It was like how I don't even remember what it was, but he doesn't really do podcasts. He did Tyson Hockley and Gary the Numbers Guy, and that was a very not cool. It was
Mhm.
a very not cool thing for him because he wanted to do it for Tyson. Tyson, and you know, Tyson's a young guy. I did stuff for Tyson. Did you see my Daniel Hockey Kachu?
No.
That was a real debate. That was like, where is this going? And like Tyson, the 17-year-old, who's like backed by Sneeko and the Muslims and all these guys, he wanted to put on a debate between me and Daniel Hockey Kachu. And he couldn't make it at the last minute, and rightfully so. It's the day after Charlie Kirk got shot.
Mhm.
I think it was the day. Yeah, it was the day after Charlie Kirk got shot. Charlie Kirk got shot on a Wednesday, and this debate was on a Thursday.
Huh.
And usually, and I like all of our DMs in the DM were like, "Yeah, man, like, let's be cool with each other. Let's be cool with each other. Let's be cool with each other. You know,
Yeah.
let's have a civil debate. Let's talk about the issues." And I did talk about the issues. I pressed him so hard on some of the issues, but I did it from a different place because he took to the internet after Charlie Kirk got shot and like immediately went on the PR, immediately blaming the Jews, immediately, you know, inferring that like Charlie Kirk deserved it. These people deserve it. They're against the Sharia. They're against Islam.
Yeah.
And Tyson couldn't handle the heat. It was crazy. Like, because I knew Charlie. I didn't know him well, but like, who didn't know Charlie? He had time for everyone.
Mhm.
You know, like so many people have Charlie Kirk personal experiences because Charlie Kirk was that guy, you know? He had time for everyone. So, and he was a very magnanimous individual.
Yeah.
You know, he was also very tall, and he just like commanded a lot of, like, you felt safe in Charlie's leadership. So a lot of people came to him, and he had time to talk to everybody and hear their concerns and still rule the world with Trump. But he made time for everyone, you know, and so it was a big deal. But like, literally, Candace Owens, like Adam King was planning it with Bill Ackman and Josh Hammer and Seth Dillon. She doesn't see Shmuley or Ben in that list of the right. Candace sees myself, Josh Hammer, and Seth Dillon. That's the people that she thinks influence the Jews that influence the right, and
So
and Bill Ackman too.
I think everyone has ways of,
Like, we're funded by Bill Ackman secretly. He's the Mossad. He's the Israel. He's the Christ killers, guys. Go get Bill Ackman, the Christ killer. Like that's Candace Owens.
yeah.
People still think that's like legitimate. Like, okay, she's talking thing. She's like number one podcast on iTunes. I'm not even allowed on YouTube right now. I'm petitioning YouTube to even I'm begging them. I have to beg them so that they'll give me an account back that will probably be shadow banned.
Yeah.
And Candace Owens is like number one. Using my name, saying that I was there, a part of the plot to kill Charlie Kirk. I didn't even know this thing. But that's where we're at, you know.
So I think,
is Seth Dillon on the right? Is Josh Hammer on the right? What do you think about that?
see, that's the thing is I think that people, like, how they define what the left and the right is in just a very general sense. The left is more liberal with their ideals, right? They're more, because if you're not conserving things, you're innovating things, right? And not all innovations are good innovations, right? So innovating sexuality and sexual identity, right? So it's like, it's not a stretch to say that there's conservative people that they're gay, but they don't have like a gay identity. They're not like trying to they're a conservative person, but they just happen to be gay, right? It makes sense that the right would say, yeah, no, we have way more in common than we do with everyone else on the other side, right? And that's why they're separating themselves from the queer and transgender part and the radical, homosexuality, right? And so for people like me, it was like, okay, yeah, I mean, that was probably something that should have happened earlier. Good, right? But then when there's just like this radical transgenderism and all these different things, right? And then you see someone like Rabbi Shmuley pushing it, but then they're friends with someone like you and Ben Shapiro, and you're like,
we're friends. And I said specifically, he hates Ben Shapiro, and Ben Shapiro hates him.
But you said,
there's a character in the Jewish tradition called the Dover Shalom. I'm like, why can't we all just get along? The Dover Shalom is the guy who wants everybody to just get along. And like, I'm in a foxhole on one front of the Jewish battle. I'm in a foxhole with them. On another front of the Jewish battle, I'm in with Josh Hammer and Seth Dillon and that whole crowd. And it's like different anti-Semitic perspectives. And then you got like all the Stu Peters ones, which is like, I'm not really a Jew. I'm really a fake Jew called the Khazar, but I'm also the one who killed Jesus 2,000 years ago. I'm that Jew, but I'm a fake Jew who converted 1,000 years. It's like I have to be like both of them at the same time, in their character analogy, where like they're so intellectually dishonest, but they have marching armies of zombie low IQ individuals who they engagement farm from, and they like create a lot of very serious hostility to the point where like I have to like protect myself, and my local police department has to get involved from time to time. And the chief of police is great. He's like, listen, we're here to support the First Amendment. Like if you're like, we're here. They took it as when I said chief of police, put it that way.
So you said that
very serious it's a very small town. So, whatever, but I told you I'm in the rural side of things.
Yeah. But you said Shmuley,
that like they engage with me. We have entire swatting protocols with them. Like there's a police department. Like it's just so fucked up that people do this.
But didn't you say,
remember when everybody was accusing me of Awesome Jew of swatting all those people?
Yeah, that's actually when I first you came on my radar, to be honest.
People don't even know I've had to deal with my own personal issues with the police. I don't think that's cool at all. I'm like not even allowed to vindicate myself. They still say it. People still say, oh, that's that asshole who said something about Thomas Massey. It's like as if these like angels of humans are like if a Jew speaks to them in any sort of way, like they could say the most inappropriate things and do inappropriate things. Like Thomas Massey right now, right? He's like totally uniting with the socialists. Have you noticed? He's taking money from huge socialists like Rory Gates and other major like ultra liberal PAC. He took PAC money just recently. It's all on Awesome Jew. Go on Awesome Jew and see all the story.
Yeah.
And they like don't want that. They want their anti-Semitic column, their fifth column.
So kind of to tie a few things together, right? You said, why can't we all just get along? And it's like, well, but then you also said earlier that it's like if Israel disagrees with how the governments, they can just do regime change in all the governments they want, right?
The Torah says, before you go to war with the city, you must first call out to it in peace. Not only did Israel call out to peace in the case of Iran, but for over 20 years, Israel begged the international community to help it to avoid a war, to get involved and to help it to avoid a war. Israel has fought every single war that it had. And if it lost any single war that it had been in, it would have been an absolute genocide in a day.
Yeah.
In a day. I don't know how many Jews would be left before they would let their rage cool down when it comes to Jews reclaiming something that actually we do have some sort of legitimate claim to. You know, it like was the land of the Jews in the Bible. If the Bible's real, which everybody says it is. So on one hand, it's like and think about the Christian claim, like a Jesus without Jews is like the fakest shit I ever heard. Like they want to say the Jews killed Jesus. Every single Christian that created Jesus Inc. was a Jew. Like the first 15 popes were Jews. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean?
So, but like, even just the idea of like what would it mean for a pope to be Jewish, right? Like for me, like I don't at all think of someone's ethnicity or their DNA, right?
Why would you not? That's what it is.
But that's just what
pure-blooded Jew. That is what I am. That is like my whatever you'd call it, your species or your genus of type of human. That's the type of human I am, and it's a real thing. We even have like specific genetic markers on my mother's side of the family because of a specific lineage. There's like specific genetic markers. It's a crazy thing.
So are those markers come from like the Hyksos?
It's a kahunic gene. It's a kahanic gene. It's from the kahuna,
which is when did that start?
Priesthood of ancient Israel. They are able, because there's so many pure-blooded families, because the blood ritual, purity, and marriage are so important to the religious, that there's an entire family tree whose bloodline is dedicated to temple service. It's a part of Judaism. It's called the Kohen, the kahuna, and it's if you ever hear the name Cohen, you know that's what it is. You know, so my mother's side is a Kahanic family. You know, so like my grandfather had that pure-blooded, that genetic marker. It's a son of her son of a 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 son. It goes through the father, so it went to I'm his grandson through my mother. So but because of it, you know, I even inherit specific rights because of that bloodline. You know, in Jewish temple culture, you know, it's a very blood-focused thing. It's like God is like what God really, everything about God that you think you know, God is like so much bigger than what you think you know God is. And there's so much more to learn about God. And in the quest of learning about God, like there's a lot of things that you learn, like even how to speak to God, or even like how to increase God's abundance in your life through measurable actions.
For example, when was the first? So one thing that's kind of odd about the story of the Jews is that, for example, the whole story, the Exodus, right? Like Egypt has a very complete kind of history of everything that went on, but it never talks about Joseph or.
Actually, it does.
Yeah,
absolutely. I would like to direct you to the archaeological work of Dr. Kenneth Kitchen.
Okay.
He's probably the foremost leading expert there ever was on Israelite Egyptology. It's unbelievable, actually. The Jews built the cities of Pitom and Ramses. Two entire cities of Egypt were built by Jews. We lived in the land of Goshen, which is
Mhm.
a specific part of the land of Egypt. And then we had ancient knowledge. We still have ancient knowledge, tremendously important ancient knowledge. And in the times of Egypt, they used it to we built cities, Pitom and Ramses.
Mhm.
And they
So what do you
saw like our power, and we were enslaved.
think about Flavius Josephus as far as being a reliable historian?
Well, I definitely, one of the things that I love about the Torah
Mhm.
that differs from other, like, and the Bible,
Because he's Jewish, or
Yeah,
he
I
was
know.
Jewish.
I
Yeah.
know. One of the things I love about the Torah and the Bible that is really important is that, like, for instance, if you go to like an Egyptian hieroglyph of a king, it'll only say all the good things that they did. But in the
Mhm.
books of our kings, like, we admit to doing great sins.
Mhm.
There's tales of repentance. There's there's lives that were lived of like complete evil, and we
Mhm.
air them out. Like in the book of Kings, there were like horribly evil kings, especially in the northern kingdom of Israel, that broke away after King Solomon during the times of Roavam and Yoravam in the Bible. Roavam ben Navat was Shlomo HaMelech's heir, King Solomon's heir.
Yeah.
And Yoravam was the prince of Ephraim. And at that time, there was a conflict, and the united kingdom of the Jewish people broke. And there was the northern kingdom and then the kingdom of Judah. And so we Jews, we're the descendants of the kingdom of Judah. That's why we're called Jews.
Mhm.
So the northern tribes, they contained the 10 tribes. We stayed at least in physical proximity to each other, all vis-a-vis the land of Israel and the surrounding region, for very, very long time, until the kings of Babylon, Sennacherib and Nebuchadnezzar,
Mhm.
who were the original sackers of the Temple of Jerusalem. But, there's a crazy story I talk about in my book. By the way, my book hit #1 on the Amazon charts 2
Nice.
days after I released it.
Nice. That's
And I didn't
exciting.
even advertise it. And I still have an uploaded version that I I just have to plug it into the computer. I read it for a 5th time
Yeah.
after I published. And I found oh shoot, that word. Oh my God, that's bold
Yeah.
and it should be not bold. Whatever. The smallest edits that the people who read the first one and fell in love with it won't even know the difference. But I intend to actually upload this version and then actually start marketing the book. But it already hit #1.
Nice.
And it's
Congrats.
about God and Kabbalah. There's a
Oh.
section of this book that I talk about that involves ancient knowledge
Mhm.
of architecture. Everybody is all up in Tartaria and stuff like that.
I haven't really gotten into it. I mean, I've seen people talk about it, but
You don't know anything about Tartaria or lost
I
civilizations of the ancient world?
I mean, I don't like. I don't know. I don't. I don't know. I just like more of a scientific approach to things, I guess you could say.
Okay. So I'll
Um,
give you a scientific approach.
mhm.
Would you agree with me that the entire modern age was facilitated by the Industrial Revolution? Was that the beginning of the modern age?
So that kind of that kind of actually leads back to my original question of like the Hyksos, right? Do you know who the Hyksos are in Egypt?
They're yeah, I know briefly about them. I'm not like a Hyksos
Because
scholar.
Josephus says that they were the original Jews, right?
The
That they came
Hyksos.
down with chariots because Egypt didn't have chariots at the time, so they came in and were able to conquer and ruled for like 400 years or something like that. Um,
Yeah,
and
that's not the
then
story of the Jews.
and then they
That doesn't sound like the story of the Jews. I think I know the story of the Jews. It's extremely public. Everyone knows it.
Yeah, I mean,
Like the Christians carried around our book and told everyone that they fulfilled it.
yeah, but it's not like reality isn't like a democratic thing, right?
Yeah, we
Like,
don't care what you think. We don't proselytize. We're like a racially blood cult.
so that's exactly the thing. Is what the problem is to be when you guys say
We're not
openly
a
you
cult. We're
don't
like,
care what
we
we
are the
think.
fathers of all religions. Every single major religion is trying to claim its authenticity from their connection to our storyline, whether Islam or Christianity. Whether they're right or they're wrong, that's what they do. Let's just be real with it.
I'm yeah. I mean, I'm fine. I'm fine to get
So,
real
like,
with
the
it.
idea of like discrediting Jesus's Judaism is a big subject of debate.
Mhm.
This is what the Hyksos.
Well, this is actually before the Hyksos, right? So it's like, where did the Hyksos even get their the wheel, right? And it's like, well, ancient Armenia, right? And it's
Dude,
just what it,
let me get back to my subject on the Industrial Revolution, and we'll go back to the
okay.
Hyksos. Okay.
All right, sounds good.
So, my question to you on the Industrial Revolution, it's basically like, it's basically known and accepted, albeit like a few great examples of innovation. Like, for example, that the ancient world functioned at a specific degree until the invention of the Industrial Revolution,
Mhm.
around like 250 years ago. It really started about 200 years ago, like 1820 is when they really say that was the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. Before that, you had like everybody doing the same type of agriculture with like a hoe that was used for like thousands of years, like pulled on oxen, like done for thousands of years with the shovel, with the plow. There wasn't like such a concept of industrial farming. There wasn't such a concept of the modern world, right? So like everything was kind of like the same, like albeit like a gun barrel was shorter than a cannon. Like they made a hand cannon. Like it was like all technology was like pretty much military based from the entire Dark Ages until the Industrial Revolution. So if you consider the Dark Ages like a cultural reset, where some, like for instance, the burning of the Library of Alexandria, we all know that it happened. We all know that it had existed, and it was supposedly this center that had all this advanced knowledge,
Mhm.
but we don't. But we know it was destroyed, and we've been pushed into dark ages of human existence, where knowledge and understanding of humanity and everything associated to it is gone, and we're like, humans lost in the jungle, with faint traces of the past. This is one of the reasons why they hate Jews so much, is because we do represent a physical, our blood is like a physical representation of the past. We have preserved a lot of things in our Bible that don't pertain to us.
Mhm.
And we record our bad deeds and we record our good deeds. There are 12 righteous kings of Judah, 10 bad ones, 7 shepherds, the 7 righteous ones, and then there's like 7 that were like on a completely different level. They were like beyond saintly kings in the spirit of King David, the Messiah.
So that's actually kind of something interesting as far as the history of, like the oldest reference of Jews at all is actually not until Alexandria, when all the Jews were there.
No, there's very old representations of the Jews everywhere. There's even old actual physical sites all over the world, like the grave of Abraham and Sarah.
Mhm.
I used to go every single Saturday night to the grave of Abraham and Sarah. Well, it's more than Abraham and Sarah. It's
And it
Abraham
has
and
writing on
Sarah.
it.
It's Rebecca and Isaac, and it's um Yaakov, and Leah. The graves of all of them.
And it has writing on it?
Yeah. Well, there's like all sort inside the tomb. The Jews are allowed into the tomb complex twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
We conquered it just like the Temple Mountain. It's like one of the ancient sites. Do you want to see what it looks like?
Sure. Yeah, I'm just wondering how they dated it and knew that it was Abraham's tomb.
Well, it's known. This was built by the surrounding structure was built by why is this? It's an ancient site. Actually, I'll break the news with you if you want.
Sure.
I've been like talking to this guy who like has this. All right, you see what this building?
Yeah.
This is the undisputed grave of Abraham, Sarah. That's the tomb right here. You see? I'll show you. This right here is the tomb of Isaac and Sarah. I'm sorry, Yitzhak and Rivka. Isaac and Rivka. This is their tomb right here. I'll see if they could get any others. It's the ancient grave. This is inside of the tomb. This is the entrance to a well that goes into the cave system that's recorded in the Bible. But this is the building right here. It's the tomb of the patriarchs. And a lot of this building was built by Herod, and then it was later, there was a Muslim leader who added minarets and stuff to it on the top and expanded the megalithic base of the building. But oops, let's do that. Give you a graphic while I go back to my camera, and then I'll come back here. So the power of eCam, bro. I'm telling you, nice. It will raise your game. So, so that site is the tomb of only Jews. They made it into a Muslim mosque. It's one of the greatest. It is the most greatest place of contention between Jewish and Muslim affairs. The Temple Mount is like it's like a show. They say like the Western Wall is like rightfully their place because Muhammad rested his donkey there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the most important place in the world to Jews. Look at it. It's like so like, do you think if they took the Temple Mount away right now and gave it to the Muslims and the Jews have all these weapons, you don't think we go around and literally kill every single one of them? Every single one of them. I'd hit the button. I'd be like, Hillary, where's the button? You know, like, where's the button? That's so crazy. I would do it for God. For God, if they tried to take me away from God and his holy temple, I would say anyone who stands in the way of that is like liable to like really, really suffer the fate of God, truly. Because it's God that wants it and it's God that will get it. And God wants to be serviced in Jerusalem by his people on his Temple Mount, like in the days of old, and reestablish the covenant between man and himself for eternity and end death forever. That's the plan. That's what this whole thing is about. That's what it means, the third temple.
So that brings me to kind of another one of the questions is so following the history of religion, there was the mystery school. Well, so temple worship was very physical manifestation, basically, in viewing, trying to create idols that would channel celestial powers. That was kind of the Mesopotamian sort of thing. And in Egypt, there was sort of a renaissance in that idea. Instead of having something physical and external, you would try to, you'd have your body be the temple, or your mind or your heart, and you would try and liberate your soul, the immaterial, from the material. And, this kind of spread a lot in the time of Pythagoras, right? Where there were temples, right? And hierarchies and all these things. But suddenly it was this idea of having a small school, like kind of like the rabbis, that is in that era, the rabbinic culture kind of started after that. But of
Rabbinical culture was founded by Moses. Moses is the first rabbi. That's why his name is Moshe Rabbeinu.
yeah, I mean, like the difference between like a Pharisee and a Sadducee, right? Like a temple
There's been many
Jew versus
variations of Jewish debates throughout history.
right.
There's
So
Hillel and Shammai.
hmm.
I just think it's funny when people it's like Pharisees and Sadducees. People are
You,
really obsessed with like these like extremely Gregorian English names.
so
Like
for example, what's the oldest version of the Hebrew Bible?
the way that the Torah is preserved itself, it comes
Mhm.
with a code of authenticity. In addition to having very ancient Bibles and very
Mhm.
ancient archaeological texts that point back to different time periods in even before the like in the times of the the Mishkan, which was the mobile tent when we were like more nomadic before we had a physical temple. But before the temple was moved to Jerusalem, it was in Shiloh, which was in the north. Originally, when the temple came to Israel, it was in Shiloh, but it was called the Mishkan. It was a mobile temple. And then King David brought it to Jerusalem, and King Solomon put it in stone. So that's the story of the Bible. And inside of those, that time of the kings were the time of the prophets. And so, like, for instance, when it comes to Christianity, like, there is an undisputed, like, they include the books that are important to them in their Bible as if those prophets are responsible for that. Jesus is somehow a fulfillment of those prophets. Like, their entire religion is based on those prophets and the claim that prophecies, like everything that a prophet said was true. Like a complete belief in the age of the Jewish prophets. So what, like, there's like a, so that's why they include it in their Bible. Now there's some prophets that they don't include in the Bible, and they created a subclass called the Apocrypha.
Mhm.
And in the Apocrypha, you have books like
Enoch.
well, yeah, that's not even in the Torah, the Tanakh. The book of Hanoch is not even in the Tanakh, but the book of,
I mean, it is in Ethiopia.
for instance, Baruch ben Nehariah, the book of Baruch. Baruch is a major prophet, and he's referenced by the prophets of Israel all the time.
Mhm.
He's like really involved in a lot of the age of the prophets. His story is essentially recorded through other prophets because he doesn't have his own book of the Bible. But the Apocrypha, for example, has 4 books from Baruch that they don't include in their, when they conquered Jerusalem and took all the books of all the prophets, the physical belongings and the relics, they included in their lexicon. They have, Christians have a lexicon and a sublexicon. In their lexicon, they included all the prophets that are the Jewish book of the Tanakh in the like word for word, literally word for word, almost. I mean, there's mistranslations that are extremely significant, but like for the most part, they're trying to translate word for word. And they have a sub lexicon called the Apocrypha, and in the Apocrypha, they still publicly reveal the 4 books of Baruch ben Nehariah, and they reveal the books of the Maccabees, the Hashmonaim, are in their Apocrypha. That's the age of the Kohanic kings of Judah. They were conquered, and they conquered Greece, or they didn't conquer Greece. They defended Israel against Greece when Greek tried to invade Israel.
What year was that?
That was the Maccabean revolt. You could Google it.
That was the. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I was just like,
The Maccabean revolt was started by Judah Maccabee, and he was the leader until Herod. His family ruled Israel until Herod. And Herod had a daughter. His wife was from the family, and that's why Herod claimed power to rule, because Herod was an Edomite. He was from a different bloodline, but supposedly he had some sort of Jewish blood, and he had Jewish blood, but I don't know exactly where it came from. But it wasn't like rabbinically certified enough to not have to convert or go through something called a ger sefek, which is if somebody was, we don't proselytize, but we allow conversion.
so how does that work?
Difficult.
If you
I
said
don't know. A lot of people don't even. Conversion is a very serious thing, and there's disputed conversions. So I don't know. Like I said, I believe I'm a part of the blood part of the religion. I love being Ashkenazi. It's like my favorite thing. Like, especially like I love my heritage. My heritage is so unbelievably ancient.
so, how
And
far
I'm
back
so
does your
grateful.
lineage go?
Thousands of years. I am so grateful that I come from such an ancient family. Like, I was talking about it to my non-Jewish friend the other day and saying, like I showed a book that contained like a massive lineage tree. It's like a public book. It's called Shemot HaTzadikim. And it's the lineages of all the righteous people of ancient Israel. And it's like a public book on the Jews. And it's just so comforting to know that, like, I'm supposed to debate this black Hebrew Israelite. Jake Shields is like putting this thing together, and I'm going to go on and I'm going to talk to this black Hebrew Israelite. Can we change this screen and go back to my beautiful face?
Sure.
I love the priest, the high priest. I'm glad I got screen time with him, but that, like in Judaism, we have our own thing. Like the blood of the priest is so everybody wants to marry into that family still to this day. It's like such a big deal. But I love being Ashkenazi, man. My culture is so unique and so different and so ancient. And it has so much to offer. And I would argue, if I had to compete against my Sephardic Jewish and brothers and sisters, the influence of Ashkenazic Jewry is like, it's all very important. We're all just going to say it's very, very important. But Ashkenazi Jewry is known for our rabbinic traditions. We're known for it's really well recorded histories, really well recorded communities, really well recorded lineages. Like very, very much. It's like all King David, dude. It's like all the King David. 90% of all Ashkenazis are direct descendants of King David in the modern age. That's how important and prolific that family has been in the world. And that's why people hate him, Ashkenazi, so much. There's parts of King David's family that are not Ashkenazi too, I want to reference. And there's parts of Ashkenaz that are not really like that much associated with King David. The Spanish Inquisition was a really big deal. Spanish Inquisition was one of a lot of Sephardi moved to Ashkenaz in the Spanish Inquisition, but they created a different type of culture that is also distinctly Ashkenazi today. It's called the Litvak culture today. And it's like a Lithuanian style interpretation of the Torah. But it comes from Lithuania, but Lithuania, like Vilna, like the there was a tremendous learning center of Torah called Vilna in Lithuania, a Jewish city called Vilna. It's still around today, the city. And so Vilna was founded by Jews as a Torah learning center. Like in the
Isn't that where like the good rabbi, like the Ben Tov or something, came from? Vilna, I think.
the Baal Shem Tov, is that
Oh,
who you're
Baal
talking
Shem
about?
Tov. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you're talking about this is Ukrainian. It's different. But as far as the Spanish Inquisition, I was kind of like explaining that a lot of the bulk of Spanish Inquisition survivors went to Lithuania. Like that was the part of relocation, was Spanish Inquisition. A lot of these families, these really, 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 really old Ashkenazi families that are extremely well recorded genetics all the way to King David. Like not just that, also other Ashkenazi genetics, like for instance the Baal Shem Tov, who was Ukrainian from a different path in the exile, you know. But my mother's side is Ukrainian. My father's side is from Vilna, and my mother's side is connected to the Baal Shem Tov. My father's side is
Interesting.
actually connected to a figure named the Vilna Gaon. And my father's side actually was one of the founding families of Vilna, and it's known for like we're very assimilated into America. I'm the 7th generation American on both sides. So like hanging out with Goyim ends up wearing off on you. But there's an expression in Judaism called Chamesh Dorot Chilonim V'Tzadik Yakum. 5 generations of just like emptiness, and then a tzaddik, a completely righteous Torah scholar is born. So it's kind of like my family, you know, like I have like my family really assimilated. A lot of intermarriage. My parents were like the only ones who didn't intermarry, you know, in their generation. You know, it's like very prominent to like make declarations where they give up their lineages and stuff. So I have like a lot of mixed cousins. It's intense, dude, to be like, and I'm like, my parents, God bless them, you know.
See,
Seriously,
that's
God bless my parents. My parents, my mother's like a very adel, modest. She's like really awesome, cool, everything. But she was like really just like feminine, everything that you would expect, like, you know, a Jewish American mother to be, you know. And she was like, she's like growing up, like our Judaism was important to us, but like we were raised as Americans. You know what I'm saying? We like our synagogues we didn't have like an Orthodox style. I became Orthodox later in life, actually.
what were you in the beginning? Like Reform?
Growing up, we associated with a conservative synagogue. We associated with several synagogues of that nature, you know, for
See,
many, but
it's just something that's really hard for me is like, you know, for me, like the belief, the actual, the actual just belief, the internal thing within you, that your inner spirit, like what it actually believes, is just infinitely more important than the DNA that is wrapped around it. And so it's like for me, when I trace back, you know, the beliefs, like there shouldn't be any changes. If something's true, it just should always be true, right? And so that's why, like, I don't know. When I look into Judaism, it's weird to see like switches and how how different religions like influence Judaism over time. And I mean, even like, you know,
I don't see it.
let's see, I got
Talk to me. Don't throw me up on a stupid meme again, because that's starting to get offensive. I don't like that style broadcasting.
I mean,
You're not smart enough to brainwash your people on stupid memes with me. But
I mean,
could share with you. I could share with you. I'll answer your question if you want, but I see us going down this path. I see multiple places this can go, and I want to like.
I mean,
be
I
respectful.
don't think it's. I mean, it's just like hard to convey as much information as
Let me ask you a
possible.
question. Do you
Yeah.
think the Jewish people of today are the Jewish people from the ancient world?
I mean, I'm sure there's lots of DNA that's similar. I don't even know what when you say the ancient world, what you're
Do you
referring
think that
to?
there's a pure-blooded group of people today? I don't even want to ask you this question. It's just going to make me upset. I don't want to give you the opportunity to say and get your screen time click. Let's not do that. That's just so dumb. I'm an ancient Jew.
Yeah.
My bloodline is very well preserved. I know where I come from. I don't need you to believe in me or not. And God loves me so much that he's conquering my enemies with pagers. Beep, beep. It's God. I'm going to have Jerusalem soon all to myself, and the Jews are going to serve me. That's the word of the prophet that all Western civilization is based on. The prophets of ancient Israel, that's what Western civilization is.
So, I mean, even like going back, you said David, right? Well, David went to go live with the Philistines. Like the whole kingdom of Solomon came together because of the treaty that David made with the Philistines,
He was
right?
a great king. No, King David conquered everyone. King David was taken by the Philistines and pretended to be like retarded in order to save his life so he wouldn't be recognized. He was pretending to be a drunkard in the streets, that like just a total waste of life. It's like recorded in the Bible, dude. I don't know, dude. I don't want to have a biblical debate, because if you do, I have the Bible in front of me, and I've already been here for 2 hours, and I got a lot of stuff I got to take care of. So I'm not really interested in going down like that path. I've answered a lot of your questions about my
Well, no,
friends,
I appreciate it.
people who I
I
want to be
do.
friends with, like Yossi Farrow. Yeah, I thought it was really stupid that you showed Yossi Farrow with Jeffrey Epstein. I was like, couldn't believe that. I was just like, man, this guy's
So,
so fucking
so,
stupid.
so
In my
I
head, I was thinking that. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, am I really in this type of a place having to answer these type of questions? But when it comes down to this like biblical accuracy thing, it's just like, I don't need you to believe who I am,
Mhm.
but like my family has 400 nuclear missiles and space lasers. So I don't give a fuck what you think. So like your Bible, if it's important to you, maybe you go become a pagan with Adam Green. Adam Green's not even like a pagan. He just like cast the yoke of everything off of him. Go do it. I don't care. I don't need you to believe in the Bible. I'm not here to recruit you for the God of Israel. I'm just with the God of Israel, and he's doing a ton of stuff in the world. It's like very visible, and only the blind can't see it.
yeah, I mean, for me, I'm trying to. It just seems like there's like this impasse of understanding, right? Where it's like that. Let's say Bill Ackman's wife receives like $1 million from Jeffrey Epstein, right? That seems, odd, right? Like people, I think it would be like for me thinking that I guess belief is more important than DNA, right? I would say like I don't really care who it is. Like I wouldn't even care if it was my father or whoever. Like I would have questions if it's like, why are you taking money from someone who's doing sex trafficking, right?
Like, I would hope that if you're even remotely thinking on that wavelength,
Mm-hmm.
that you are so skeptical about the Crown of England's involvement in Jeffrey Epstein.
I am. I
And
could
like, I
go.
would want with equal veracity for you to be calling out random people in the British House of Lords, like Lord George Farmer, who he's really an honorary thing, but like his son, the young
Mhm.
George Farmer. What's up with that? Like, why aren't you like putting associations together for people like that?
No, you said you mentioned when we were talking Francis
I
Henry
just think this
Penalt.
is like stupid stuff. I don't know about Bill Ackman and that. Go investigate it.
Well, no, I
What do
have
you want to
no,
know
but
from me for?
no,
I don't even know Bill Ackman. They say like I go to his parties and like I'm the guy to go after. Hey, you angry, vicious, low IQ mob of fucking retards. They say like, oh, that's the guy to go after if you want to revenge Charlie Kirk. Only I'm friends with him. Only I was his friend. I was his best friend. Watch this video of us dancing around a room when we were younger. Like, it's so fucking stupid. And I'm getting drowned out by it. And honestly, I saw somebody from the right, like the woke right, like do a defamation suit. I was saying, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? defamation, like I'm just like, no, dude. You want defamation suits? You got like millions of Jewish lawyers. We can lock up the American courts in defamation suits for years. Why would it's like so stupid to think that that's what the Jews want to do? We would already do it. There's so much defamation about us. Like I just went through defamation about me, and now you're curious about my bloodline. If like I actually am descended of the people who I am descended from, and that's where I'm like, this is where I get to these interviews where I'm just like, I don't want to fall for this shit again.
I'm I'm not saying you don't have DNA that goes. I mean, I don't doubt that you have DNA in you that goes back to David.
DNA in me, like right, like I have speckles of it, or I'm like fully of it.
I mean, you can be fully. It doesn't. To me, it doesn't actually matter, right? Like, I mean, I think about my DNA. Like, I don't know. I sunburn
like
easily.
When people ask me about like the Hyksos, and like I don't know anything about the Hyksos, and you're like, oh, that was actually the real Jews. Like I'm like, who the fuck does this guy think he's talking to right now?
So, but like Josephus said,
you're
that
like the black Hebrew Israelite to me. I'm like, yeah, nigga, I'm a Jew, man. I'm the real Jew, man.
But when was Moses? Like the time of Moses, right? Like history has been going on for thousands of years, right?
The second.
So
Joseph
it's like
was Amenhotep the fourth.
So what I mean is like what is
you go, dude? I said Kenneth Kitchen, man, go to town, bro. But don't be a fool, and don't be one of these like stupid people on the internet who like believe the mythology more than the reality. Because like you said, you said this more than once, belief is more important than race or something or that like that, or like belief is more important than blood. You use this line and I'm like, okay, that's like so trans agenda. Like that's like saying boys can be girls. Like I'm saying like, you know, like I'm a Jew. I know my history extremely well. I'm worldwide known for knowing my history. And like for you to tell me like that the Hyksos, and I'm like, I don't know, dude. My mother didn't raise me telling me like I was a Hyksos.
So,
like
what was
that, like, but she did like teach me the Bible. She did teach me like the book of Western civilization. But
so what was your family doing 10,000 years ago? Like where were they 10,000? Yeah, actually, I really do.
My family traces itself back to Adam in the Garden of Eden, which was 5,786 years ago.
Okay. And where was the Garden of Eden?
We were like created by God.
Yeah.
Maybe there were humans here before us or whatever. I don't know. Maybe there was something else. I don't know, and I don't care. 5,786 years ago, this like creator, this God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, created this thing called Adam. And he had a lineage. And the Bible says, Elia Sefer Toldot Adam. That's how it starts. This is the lineage book of Adam. And it lists his whole lineage up to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And then the Bible is the 12 tribes. It lists all the first 12 kings of Ishmael. It lists all the first 12 leaders of Esav. It lists them. But then it goes on to speak about solely the 12 children of Jacob, the 12 tribes of Israel, and their story all the way through the modern age. And it wasn't preserved by the Jews at all. We didn't even do like, unless secretly Jews created Christianity for a region. I know there's like
no, I don't believe that.
HT who go on and say that, and like all these, you know, Adam Green even used to say that stuff, but he wisened up on that stuff. It was saying like that Jews are like descended of the Jews created Christianity. No, Jewish people did create Christianity. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, but it is a separate religion, and even today, especially after the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, when they made the Apocrypha and like sorted out all the books. These are like two completely different forms of Christianity,
right?
Pre-Nicaea and post-Nicaea and everything. Dude, there is, to say that Christianity is Jewish, you can't say that Jews killed Jesus and that Jesus and
So
Christianity was created by Jews.
yeah, I don't ascribe to any of the kind of low IQ stuff. I mean, um, for me, I mean, I just like I look at like the line of belief, like how the evolution of belief, but also just like the archaeological record, right? Like so, like if Adam was 5,000, less than 6,000 years ago, when there's places like Sumeria that are like 10,000 years old, like was Adam like the first like man of God rather than just the first like hominid, or like how does that work?
The Talmud actually says that there were 874 generations before Adam.
Interesting.
The Talmud, the book that you guys love so much.
I mean, I don't like. I mean, and so that means that. So what was? So it's just like a miracle that. So of those different generations, were is there a line that Adam came from? Because there's like Neanderthals and Homo habilis and all that stuff. Like,
so it also says in the Torah and the Kabbalah, like in the really mystical books, you have to understand everything that comes from the Kabbalah, like the ancient Kabbalah, like the canonized Kabbalah, like Rabbi Shimon the Arizal, like more canonized books like that. When things come from those type of books, like they talk about other things like inner earth, all sorts of different things are contained in those books. Like I said, Judaism bears incredibly great knowledge. The greatest of our knowledge is kept in the Kabbalah. It's for everyone. It's free, but people would rather destroy it than embrace it. It's like what you're saying about that, having $1 million or having nothing because you press that button. And that button is the Jewish button. We are very important to the world, and America should love its Jews. You guys should love your Jews. We've contributed, we've built, we've invested, we put our money, we put our faith. We helped elect Trump. We would have literally had transgendered everything right now. Literally, they would be publicly raping your kids in school, saying, no, this is normal for the state. We've always done it this way. You put the crayons in your butt, kids. Make yourself a rainbow. Like that's literally what they would be doing. You know what I'm saying? Like they're so psychopaths. They were doing it crazy on Biden. They had a topless transgendered parade at the White House under Biden. And then they were thinking they were going to give us Kamala. They would have public sex acts on the White House lawn. It would have been so nuts in Kamala. And the Jews helped Trump more than any other socio group in the country. We gave so much money. We gave so much support. We gave so much. There's so many Jews on the right. That's another thing. People on the right, they don't embrace Jews so much. Who's a really important figure on the right? Matt Brooks. Matt Brooks doesn't like to, it's like neocons sometimes embrace Jews in a specific way, but like the fringe right wants to do stuff like say, no, they're not the real Jews, and they kill Jesus. You know what I'm saying? It's like so crazy. This space is so toxic and so ridiculous and so immature. And
so
everybody hides behind anonymous accounts.
do you think there
One of the reasons
is?
I did your show is because you have your own face.
Yeah.
One of the few accounts I've seen in a long time that have their own face. You should see the emails that I get from faceless people.
Oh, I believe it.
I don't think you get them.
I actually do. I told you, the Greek letter society Alpha whatever Phi that harasses. They stalk me. Like it's really weird.
Who does?
The Alpha, which fraternity did you say it was? Alpha something Phi?
I think it's called like Alpha Phi Epsilon or something like that.
Oh yeah, Alpha Epsilon Phi.
The Alpha Phis.
So it's like they're harassing me.
This episode, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean,
Alpha Epsilon Pi. That's great.
But
do they watch you?
I mean, so it's been weird because I mean, I haven't been doing as much streaming or whatever. I used to go on.
Did you get like one Alpha Epsilon thing, or was like a long time of getting People from Alpha Epsilon Pi. Would you even go to war with against a fraternity like that? That's so
I
stupid.
didn't start it. So all I was doing, so that's one of the reasons I came on here. Like, do you know who Ryan Cohen and what GameStop like the stock is?
I know. I heard that. I know about GameStop.
So it's been really
I
confusing
don't
to
invest my money with monkeys.
with monkeys. What do you mean? Oh, with apes?
Come on. I mean,
Yeah.
duh.
So talk to your Alpha Epsilon Phi homies and be like, hey, I want
I
to
don't
join
have many.
your.
I mean, I know some. Elon Carr was Alpha Epsilon Phi. I think Ben Shapiro is Alpha Epsilon Phi. I'm not sure though about Ben. I know Elon is. He was the White House Special Envoy to combat anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
He's a baller.
So
That's like a
because
conservative American. That people want to be like, there's no conservative Jews in America. They're just a bunch of liberals.
so Ryan Cohen's hanging out with Trump, but at the same time, you have people like Stephen Cohen who are shorting GameStop. So Ryan Cohen is the CEO of GameStop and he's long GameStop, and it's like, I mean, even Jeffrey Epstein was shorting GameStop. All these different people were shorting GameStop, and so it's just
And
that's why
Sam
it's
Bankman-Fried and all those guys.
yeah
Yeah, I
yeah.
get it. There's crazy people. I don't know who they are.
So Alpha Epsilon Pi is part of the group that's short GameStop, and so they'd attack me as a way to attack GameStop, which is just kind of weird to me because like all I did
When
was
I asked
invest
you
in.
what your
Yeah.
biggest video was, why didn't you send me that? That should have been huge. That should have been like millions of views because GameStop stuff is so viral. Who are you
I
talking
don't.
about this?
Well, I mean, one, I go on other people's podcasts to talk about GameStop. Usually, I mean, every once in a while, I'll do a more specific one on Bed Bath on my channel. But I'm not like trying to get famous. I don't really like the negative attention. It's not something I want. I just have real questions, and to me, it's incredibly frustrating to watch this whole
Isn't that like the
clash.
AMC thing too?
See that's the problem is like, so AMC is going a completely different angle, but like
I don't know.
um
I think these type of conversations are like kind of annoying, I think.
yeah. But what I'm saying is that's just
It's like
why I came in contact with Alpha Epsilon Pi
people
is
who are
because
like, oh, you got to invest in this thing and that thing, and oh, buy the coin and buy the coin. I'm just like,
yeah. But that's why they were attacking me. And so it's like they would put like hours and hours. I mean, it was insane. We're talking people that are like high up. I mean, if the lead writer, you can actually look this up. There's a
send that
clip
to me.
on.
Send it to me. I want to reach out to them.
Yeah. So
I want to go hang out with them.
there's a Family Guy
Send it to
clip,
me.
2 clips about Bed Bath and Beyond after it's bankrupt. Like, and so it's like, and they did that just to mess with us. Like, it's so.
Why are they Alpha Epsilon Phi? It sounds like they're business owners.
So Alpha Epsilon Pi has some of the big banks, right? I mean, I'd have to pull up like
What the fuck? Wait, a fraternity owns big banks?
so some
Or
of
it
the
has
main
members that are
members.
big bankers?
So his name is not Sam Wheel. Actually, it is. I think it's
I
Wheel.
would imagine they have like a ton of business school students, dude.
So Jamie Dimon, do you know who his protege or who he is a protege of?
No.
I'd have to pull.
I heard his name. I don't really think about him so much.
What?
Hey, I'm gonna have to wrap this up. I got a lot of stuff to take care of, and I wanted
Okay.
to be fair and give you as much time as you want, because I don't know, what.
Okay, I'll just say that J.P. Morgan's the person that he was a protege of was the CEO of Citibank, and he is one of the leading members of Alpha Epsilon Pi or Phi, and so that's why they J.P. Morgan counterfeited a bunch of Bed Bath and Beyond shares, like $12 billion
Why was that?
worth.
Why he did it? Like, because these people were a part of a fraternity?
I'm not saying it's because they were part of a fraternity. It just was odd to me that same, like every time I was researching someone and then I found out who
Let
was.
me tell you. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me in doing your conspiratorial thing on white collar crime, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Just understand one thing. That generally, the difference between white collar crime and non white collar crime is that white collar crime is like educated crime.
Mhm.
Like, in order to game the system, he like had to figure it out in like the ultimate business school, Wharton. You got guys who go to Wharton and Harvard and all those. That's where this kind of like elite ruling is done through, is the universities.
I
They
believe
like
that.
always lead through the universities. And so pledging itself to university culture is this like culture of frat life. So you're going to be able to find connections to fraternities, to like everything in white collar crime.
Mhm.
Any white collar criminal, like, you are going to have like connections at the university level. So I just understand that. I really don't have any more time. I got to go. But like, I think that's important because you seem like you're really trying to put the pieces together. And that's a
Mhm.
piece that you're not even looking at on the puzzle, is that, like,
So
the world is
the
much bigger than you allow it to be.
one of the oldest universities is in Morocco.
What's your race?
I I don't know. I got Danish, I got Scottish, I have English, I have Irish. Obviously, I have. I mean, it's like I don't even.
Do you know when you came to America?
I don't know. Several generations.
Do you
I
know
know.
like do you know where you guys came from before America?
I know, like maybe Danish would be probably the strongest, I guess, cultural tie. But besides eating Evel Skeevers every once in a while, like there's like nothing
There's a book
particularly
you should
Danish.
read.
What?
It's called The Prose Edda.
Okay, yeah, no, I've read a little bit of that. Yeah.
Then you should read yeah, just read the whole thing.
Yeah.
Hey man, I gotta go. Thank you for
All right.
having me today. I
Thank you
appreciate
so much.
Take care.
You too. All right. So might as well just share a few slides that I was going to touch on, just because maybe it'll give some context to. Whoops. So the whole reason I brought this up was because there are what's called the 7 Noahide laws, which is, just as Adam was saying, it's to some Jews, it's not really even a thing that anyone even can convert, and that there is a major focus around just your DNA. So that so there's a separate law, and this came from the Babylonian Talmud, which was I think this specific one, oh yeah, somewhere in the 1st century. So this is after Christianity. They're like, okay, well, maybe we need a law for the non-Jews, and it. The main question, actually, I just realized that the main question I was hoping you would answer, we didn't actually get to, which is, what is the definition for idol worship, right? And because it's fine to not curse God, right? I don't know. It's just I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know if that means having criticisms like, "Oh, fate is against me," and like, "Oh, well, you're cursing God." I mean, I think that the thing is anytime each one of these has a specific definition, right? And it would completely change how it's implemented, right? Like, is what's considered murder, right? Is it considered murder if the person's innocent, right? Like, let's say on October 7th, when the IDF blew up cars carrying hostages, and so they intentionally killed at least 12 Israelis. Is that considered murder, right? I mean, I think it is, right? I mean, I don't know any way you could rationalize that. Even if you somehow had some leaps in logic to say that the Palestinians aren't human, and all the foreign, I think there's like almost 200 or maybe even more than 200, people in the news that or shoot, yeah, just reporters that were killed. So it's like, even if you were saying, hey, none of those people, no one besides a Jew is human, it's still, you'd still have to look at those 12 Israelis that were killed on October 7th by the IDF and say, like, is that murder, right? Hold on a sec. So, yeah. Anyway, like how this is to not commit adultery or sexual morality, right? Like, okay, I don't know. I mean, that one seems kind of straightforward. I mean, it does get us to more of a Sharia law type of thing, right? But do not steal. Okay, well, if you counterfeit shares, right, in the stock market, is that considered stealing? I think it is. And not to eat flesh torn from a living animal. Like, okay, I mean, I think that one's pretty straightforward that we could just say is a good idea, right? So anyway, the implementation of these, is important, and it's not necessarily straightforward, because when you look at idol worship, right? I mean, are the sacred, items inside of a temple, are they idols, right? I mean, like, what makes something like this, right? You have little, like, angels, like cherubim and different stuff. Like, you have, what's different about that than any other sort of idol? I'm not really sure what it could be, right? And even just like the high priest, right? He has the breastplate of the, I think it's the Urim and Thummim, and on it is different stones. Well, they have, the different Kaabas actually have different stones, and the idea of stone worship has been really old. There used to be, and I think these come from Zoroastrian. So I think that they were set up as kind of international banking type hubs for the, they wouldn't have been the Persians. That region has changed names, not the, anyway, the, basically the Persian Empire. And they had a black stone Kaaba, they had a red stone Kaaba, a white stone Kaaba. So they had these different Kaabas, right? So why is it so much different for Islam to put this on a building than, a Jewish person to put this on a breastplate when they go into the temple? And, there's just this evolution of whether spirituality is an internal thing or an external thing. And I think it's mostly or primarily an internal thing. And so, but it seems that, and that fluctuates back and forth. And I think whether or not someone does or doesn't have a temple kind of goes along with that. Like, that there was Pythagoras left, like there was the Greek mythologies, and he and they had temples and all this stuff and a whole priesthood. And so it's kind of going away from that. He actually went to Egypt where they had the mystery schools, and this was in like 600 BC. And so in 600 BC, he goes, learns of these mystery schools. He's the first person to be inducted into these mystery schools, and then he brings that back. So this idea of a mobile religion that could be stored within just an individual was kind of a new thing that was pioneered by, I guess you could say, Pythagoras. I mean, it existed in Egypt, but it wasn't spreading culture necessarily, and it ended up, well, I think I guess that's a different thing. So this is one of the ones I wanted to is when you look at like the evolution of the Kabbalah, a lot of times people go straight towards down here, this Sephirotic tree of life, right? But when you look at like that was all the way in, the 1300s. That's when the Zohar was written, right? And before that was Maimonides, who kind of started creating like a little bit more of a secular, modernized Judaism. And but when you look at but when you look into where, like, what was he gathering on or leaning on in order to come up with the Kabbalah, there is some definite kind of themes, and one of them is Manichaeism, right? And so Mani was in about 200 AD, and he was Jewish, actually, and he was funded by the merchants along the Silk Road to basically go start a universal type church. And so he would take little bits of everything from, Platonism, Christianity, Zoroastrianism, Buddhism, Marcionism, Hellenism, and rabbinic Judaism, and Gnosticism, and the ancient Greek and Babylonian and Mesopotamian religions. It just basically compiled all of it, and they just were like, hey, let's just make one continuous religion. That way we can have one system to work within as we trade along the Silk Road. And it spread really good. Its height was, it was competing with Rome. And I think that was where, the Catholic Church was like, they finally decided, Nicene Creed okay, we need to standardize this so we can kind of stay in power. As far as you could say the currency of trade, the system of trade. And it's interesting that Manichaeism kind of ends when Islam begins, which was set up with a really rules-based system that would be good for trade. So when you look at Manichaeism, the same idea of these kind of, basically, it's that that there's these vessels that can hold light, right? In Judaism, they're called sephirot, and it's broken, right? Like that good light from the Creator came in and basically mingled and corrupted the whole thing, right? And so it's like a process of how do you detangle those two things, and that was actually all the way from Egypt. We're talking like more than 2500 BC. They had this idea that your body, like you had a soul, and it was housed by a body, and that the body was corruptible. And that's part of the reason they have like why they do mummifications is to preserve that shell, and to, I guess, fix it. And so there's been an evolution since Egypt of how do you go about fixing the relationship, I guess, between the soul and the body. How do you kind of redeem, I guess you could say, the body? Anyway, this is a huge. It's just worth looking into, because it's an interesting question, right? Where is, we all know we have impulses that aren't good and impulses that are good, and which one is the right one, right? Do we use science to determine what is logical, what is rational, or do we use our instincts? Where are those instincts located? And when you look at even just the idea of the Holy Spirit, right? Well, this idea of the Shekinah, which is the feminine aspect of spirituality. Like, even the same scriptures, right? It says, where three sit as a judge, the Shekinah is with them, right? There's a scripture in the New Testament where Christ says, when there are three gathered in my name, there's the Holy Spirit with them, right? So this same idea that there's some higher way of doing things, and you can access it, you can tap into finding out what that is in a specific way. I just realized I forgot to turn on the chat. Sorry. Hey, thanks everyone for showing up. So anyway, this evolution of like these competing instincts is quite interesting, and man, it's like so much history. It's hard to know where to start, but it has been evolving, and it's not a coincidence that different groups end up. So the whole Maimonides, who this was kind of in the when Judaism was you could say reformed. At that point, there wasn't a single Jew like Hebrew Bible anywhere, right? This is 1000 AD, right? There wasn't a single Jewish Bible. There was a Septuagint, which was Greek, written in 300 BC, but there wasn't any Hebrew Bible, and so they had to translate and make a Hebrew Bible and kind of revive this Hebrew culture, because Islam is kind of taking over everything, and so there was this the Picatrix, which seemed to be sort of an agreement between all the different religious authorities, and this is in like 1100 AD or around there, where they're like, okay, we'll just have a system where different people will govern 7 different religions, and so each one will let each other like rule their sphere how they want, and we'll just have our own kind of secret club where we're all of them. And so that seems to be headed up by the Ottoman Empire. I don't even know if you'd say specifically by Islam, because I mean it's during the golden era of Islam. But anyway, there was a revival of specifically Judaism, and so the flavor of dang it, let's see. There's just so much. It's hard to know even in which direction to handle to head off into. But let's see. So so there's just been an evolution of who has control of the holy sites, the physical sites. Well, then they're more likely to put an emphasis on the value of these holy sites. And Maimonides, he actually was against these holy sites and all these idols, because he says that was the cheapest way to get people, like to trick people, was things like astrology and things like idol worship, that he says people love to carry around a talisman or an idol or whatever, but like that's bad, right? And so I think that was actually when the law against idol worship was in response to in Yemen, the ancient Sabaeans were kind of, I guess, the forefront of idol worship and astrology at that time. And so I think that there was a pushback against it. But then it's like, how can there be a pushback against astrology and then all the Jewish holidays are based on astrology? It's just kind of weird, right? And it's doesn't seem like anyone has any incentive to outline these things, right? I mean, even just this was the first, it was not the Lexington, I can't remember. This was the first Hebrew Bible, right, in 1000 AD, right? But it looks just like all the kind of Arabic sort of motifs that they had been doing. Even just how they draw it and the idea of a magic bowl, right? Like, I mean, look up what a magic bowl is. That's literally what this is. So why are they putting an Islamic Arabic bowl on the first Hebrew Bible, right? And then there's alchemy, right? Like why it's like, but these are symbols that have been super old. Like I said, this is, ancient, India, right? It's just, it's not like, I think the reason why there's an emphasis on DNA is because that's the only consistency that someone could theoretically prove. But also, I guess this, like one kind of aspect about the Kabbalah, right? Before it was this tree, which Manichaeism, like one of the things was that Mani could speak to trees, right? And that's also interesting because when I first heard that, what came to my mind was a friend saying they went out in the forest and did mushrooms, and the trees spoke to them, and I was like, wow, maybe that is this idea of psychedelics, and then there was. I mean, even like one of the most hallucinogenic mushrooms, like typically grows in cow manure, right? So you would get these herders who have cows, and in their poop grows these mushrooms that will give you a good trip, right? And my opinion, that might be one of the reasons why cows are sacred in Hinduism, is because their poo can produce these mushrooms. So I think there's some common threads that people don't necessarily want to acknowledge, but which are definitely there. And one is also the idea of, I mean, even just that when you're in a trance or something, right? Like you're in a receiving mode, right? That's what Kabbalah means, is to receive. And so there's these like steps of the Kabbalah, which is basically first you receive this creative power from God. But once you receive that, this next step is you actually want to do what God does, because you're like, well, if this is good, which it is, I should be doing it. So then you're trying to be God because you felt touched by God. But while you're trying to be God, you're not able to receive. So you're in the giving mode when really you're supposed to be receiving from God. The third stage is when you're trying to do both. And then the fourth stage is just your desire, I guess, to receive everything, right? So that's why the evolution of the Kabbalah has kind of, in the modern era, some dark sides to it. This is also how manipulation works, is people have a neurotic need to both give and receive. And if you can find out what their specific thing they want to give is, what's their love language they want to express, or what's their love language, or their kink or their addiction that they want to receive, you can exploit that. And so it's kind of weird to see that that's been a common thread, right? So this idea of controlling people, and let's see, I didn't have time to organize all this because, oh yeah, here it is, right? This was definitely one I wanted to get to. So even the story of Esther, right? It's kind of interesting because Haman supposedly said that Esther, so she basically infiltrated the Persian Empire, right, and made it to the top, and then changed the complete, like, instead of the Persians going against Greece, right, they ended up turning on Haman and his people instead, right? And Haman's thing, one was was that he was mad that all his people got killed by the Jews, right? And it's interesting that the Jews are like, well, he was trying to kill us, and it's like, yeah, but you already killed like almost all of his people, so why is it different? Like, it just seems like the same thing, right? Like, you're both trying to kill each other. Like, I mean, maybe someone's a little bit more right or whatever, but like, it's just weird to have like this, to not be able to see your own reflection, to not be like, hey, maybe they have a will to survive just like we do. No, it's like, hey, they're not even human. Like, let's just kill them. And like, they shouldn't even think about killing us back. Right. So that's just kind of weird, right, to begin with. Right. And if you watch A Night with the King, which I just watched actually, man, there were some things that were pretty, anyway, you could definitely see some propaganda. But Haman said that basically Esther was a spy for Greece. And so it's just kind of interesting that literally less than 100 years later, Greece, Alexander the Great comes in, takes over Persia, and then gives Alexandria was like 1/3 Jewish at that point. He then sponsored them to compile their own holy scriptures, and that's how So it's like, was that their plan the whole time? They didn't mesh their religion with the Persians because their religion was already so similar to the Greeks, and then they end up with the Greeks, even though they said that they weren't, like, secretly with the Greeks. And they were totally fine with that until Greece got taken over by Rome, and then Rome didn't want to put up with the situation in Alexandria, right? So it's just like really weird to just like not, I mean, even just try to like strongman, steelman argument, both sides of everything. It seems pretty straightforward what kind of played out, right? And even Adam said, he's like, well, that's fine. David was pretending to be drunk, and that's okay because he tricked the Philistines, and then they killed them all. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, that's just like, is that a good thing, to trick people to kill them? Do you want them thinking, I can't trust you because 100% chance your loyalty is with your DNA, and you believe it's a good thing to lie to people that don't have your DNA and kill them? I don't think that makes for a stable, society. Just like the game theory analysis really doesn't come out to saying that's going to be good. And he's talking about how good it is to do a regime change, right? And this is the person. So the thing is, they did a coup back in 400 BC against Iran, right? And it was great. They were excited about it until the people who helped them, Greece, fell to the Romans, right? And then they weren't, and it's like, so they've always wanted Persia. They haven't always wanted Jerusalem, right? It's just more strategic. There's lots of reasons why Persia is just better to have than the Levant. And they want both of them for the greater state of Israel, right? But like, here's the person they're trying to put into power, right? This guy, like, I mean, who's literally hired, like he was paid by the CIA, right? Like, I'm definitely not on Iran's side. I'm on this, like, I don't even know whose side I'm on because everyone's so crazy. But like, I can at least acknowledge that there's no way in hell they want this guy as president, right? I mean, just go to his Wikipedia page. Like, it's just crazy. It's just crazy to me. And he's like really tight with, just like you were saying, the royals. Look into the royals. Yeah, they are tight with the royals. He's the godfather of this Prince Lorient or whatever. His children. So anyway, it's just like, it's just crazy that it's like here someone would say we should do, like, it's like whoever succeeds in doing the regime change wins. And here it's like Iran saying, hey, they're trying to do regime change and we don't want that. And then the Jews are like, no, that's not what we're doing. And it's like, but that's what you're doing, right? I mean, even like, I really wanted to ask Adam this, is like whether he's ever seen this, right? This is the Baha'i Faith World Center, right? And so it's in Israel, right? This is supposedly an organic religion that came out of Iran, right? And what do you know? It came out the year after B'nai B'rith, right? So they start doing this global sort of these global coups all the way back, in the 1800s, and it's just crazy because what was Baha'i Faith's message, the Baha'u'llah or whatever his name was that you don't need a centralized religion. And it's like, so he went in to Iran to say, hey, we don't actually need a centralized religion, because that was like the center of, like, one of the centers of Islam, like and it's always been one of the main two places that could end up being the center of a greater kind of Islamic sort of world. And so then they're like persecuted, and it's like, oh, like, why are you persecuting us? It's like, well, it's obvious, like, what your agenda is. You're trying to like, it's like obviously political, right? And is based out of Israel. I mean, like the temple in Israel came a little bit later, but like, I'm sure it didn't fool anyone that it wasn't organically coming out of Iran, right? So anyway, it's just kind of like, it's just weird, and like, there are questions, and I didn't get the answers I wanted. I mean, I got answers that it's like, he says, we're an ethno religion, and we believe in doing regime changes, and we don't care what anyone else thinks. So that isn't what I wanted. I genuinely was hoping there was like some sort of nuance. I don't really know, but there wasn't. So it's definitely sad. Let's see. Not sure. Oh man, I definitely wanted to ask about this. The Free France, you can look up basically when the French mafia and the Jewish mafia teamed up. And it's like so connected to everything. Oh yeah. So he, did I put it on here? Oh, anyway. So the World Brotherhood started, and then there was the World Jewish Congress, right? So this was when literally, and it's like right here, you can actually literally see, it's like on Wikipedia. You have to look on the French Wikipedia because it's the Fraternity Mundi, but it's the Bronfmans, right? It's like, they were the Jewish mafia. You have like RCIA, right? It was RCIA and all the mafias, and then the big bankers who got together and formed the World Brotherhood in 1943. And that's what changed the course of the war, right? You got Chief Rabbi of Paris, you got, Nelson Rockefeller, right? You have all these different people and all these different banks, and then a bunch of Catholics as well. I really wanted to talk about this as well. I have time to put things in the right order, but would you? So talking about like the 12 Israelis that got killed, like, would you rather, like, let's say you're Israeli, like I was gonna ask him, like, say you get kidnapped by Hamas, would you rather be blown up or be a hostage of Hamas? Like, I feel like anyone would just pick they'd rather be a hostage because um, but they didn't. They just killed him, right? And it's because they didn't want Hamas to have any leverage. And what really frustrates me is it's not like I'm on the side of Hamas. Like, I think it was anyway, just like the history of, which actually leads us to this, right? This is like, it's very, like, it's not even a secret that for years, Netanyahu has been funding and building up Hamas and sabotaging the Palestinian government, right? So you have Abbas here, right? He's with Trump, right? He's a person that can that would be great to negotiate with. I'm sure they could handle, make good deals, right? He's willing to make compromises, all these sorts of things, right? Would have been great, right? We should have supported that kind of behavior, but no, literally, you can read it. For years, various governments led by Benjamin Netanyahu took an approach that divided power between the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, bringing the Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas to his knees while making moves that propped up the Hamas terror group. Like, this isn't like some conspiracy website, right? This is literally like Israeli news, right? Like, it's insane. That's what frustrates me. Like, I mean, it's like literally Netanyahu had his people infiltrate the Gaza Strip, start radicalization just so that it would push it to this point so that they could do what they're doing. Because before October 7th, Israel didn't really have any right or rationale to just go in and do bad things, do settlements, steal in the West Bank, right? Because the West Bank was being pretty reasonable, right? And I mean, they still were, and so they were trying to spark fights, but I've have close friends who've been there, right? Like, there was it was working, right? But no, Netanyahu has to build a whole terrorist organization, fund it and those they killed. So basically, Netanyahu is funding people in the Gaza to kill all the good leaders that are willing to compromise in the West Bank, right? They're not at all the same ideology in the West Bank as, one's Fatah, the other's Hamas, right? You don't ever hear about people talking about Fatah. Why? Because they don't want that resolution of a conversation. It's like, okay, like, here you have supposedly, I mean, like, the leader of the Fatah, which would be like a terrorist group, right? Talking to the president, like, let's figure things out, right? And President Trump said, hey, he told Netanyahu, hey, let's slow down on the settlements, right? So it's just really weird to me, that you can see the how, the why, the when, everything about their agenda, and yet it's still a conspiracy to talk about it, right? I mean, here was Netanyahu was doing work permits for people in Gaza, okay? And what was that doing? He was hiring people like, what do you know, the son of the founder of Hamas. Okay. That's weird, right? Like, how would he even, like, there's just so many questions there, right? This guy, Mossab Hassan Yosef, right? Like, like, how did Israel even get in contact with him? Like, but like, when you say, like, oh, well, they were trying to build that government, right? Like, that Israel is trying to build up Hamas, right? Like, well, obviously they'd have someone on the inside who's just pretending not to be against Hamas, but is really obviously connected to all the people in there, right? Like, it's like, There's nothing secret or conspiratorial about this. And yet, if anyone talks about it, they'll just try to gaslight you into thinking that it's a conspiracy when it's just not. I mean, literally all the way, and not an isolated incident. Like, according to various reports, Netanyahu made a similar point at a Likud faction meeting in early 2019. Right? This isn't even like in secret, like this, like this video that was like leaked. Right? He's saying it just to everyone, and he says, those who oppose a Palestinian state should support the transfer of funds to Gaza. That's really messed up, right? Like, how is it that their fight is with Hamas when this is literally 2019? What happened between 2019 and 2023? I mean, there's only one thing it could be that changed anything. Actually, no, I think that's it's the gas that they discovered off of Gaza. Actually, let's see. No, I mean, yeah. So I guess but even that, if this is the reason why things changed, that's even more messed up. So there's a bunch of natural gas off the coast of Gaza, right? And so Israel wanted that gas, but Gaza was making deals with all these different people, and but Israel just kept sabotaging these deals and basically made an agreement to kind of just stall it so that they couldn't develop it, so they'd never actually be able to cash out on it. Because I mean, just think about that. If they have this steady source of income coming in, they could start really becoming a formidable kind of power. And so it was in June 2023, they discovered the Catalan off the coast of Israel. They found natural gas, right, which was actually a bigger reserve of natural gas. And that's just like, so it's like either A, they were, Netanyahu was plotting this the entire time to force things to come to an ultimate resolution, which was the demolition of all of Gaza, or Netanyahu was stalling Gaza from developing their natural gas assets until he realized he didn't need them anymore because he found his own gas assets, and then just decided to wipe out all of Gaza anyway. Like, I don't really know. That's the thing, is like, they say it's like low IQ anti-Semitism, but literally, like, there's just questions that it's like, I don't know how people aren't asking questions like this. Like, why? What was Netanyahu's relationship to Hamas? Like, it's just so weird. It's so weird, right? And he says, it's like, even this like regional person, they're like, hold on, but won't the world say that we're the aggressors? And he's like, America is something that you can easily maneuver. Yeah, because most people have no idea. They hear Hamas, and then they see pictures of kids, dressed up as Hamas, like holding a gun, and somehow that's just going to justify like anything. It's just super weird. I mean, for me, there's no. I mean, I used to want to go to Israel to see, the holy sites. I really don't care now. My faith, my Christian faith, is completely inside me. Like, there's nothing important of Christianity or anything outside of myself. Like, it's me and Christ, the Holy Spirit, right? Like, I don't need a sacred piece of dirt or a rock or anything. And the lengths people are willing to go. It's like, oh, I would nuke everyone. He said, I would nuke everyone in the world so we could have that dumb piece of land. That's insane to me. I can't even. I don't. and he brought up like this. So when we were DMing on Monday, when I asked him if he would want to chat, he's like, well, why don't you talk about people like Francis Henry Penault? It's like, okay, yeah, I'm down. I don't like corruption, child trafficking anywhere. Like I don't like any of them. Like, and sure enough, all of it leads back to, to Epstein. I mean, like this guy was one of the guardians. So there's only like a handful of guardians, guardian companies, right? There's maybe like 5 or 6 or something for the inclusive capitalism, which was this basically this cartel, this progressive, radical progressive cartel that Lynn Foster Rothschild founded, right? She founded it here with Epstein. My guess is he was involved in this. I mean, everything points right back to him. I mean, it's like you don't see his name necessarily come up, but like just all the other things, like him setting up the Clinton Foundation, like I guarantee he was part of setting up the inclusive capitalism, right? You see him with this was in concert. Like this was one of the big players was the Vatican, and then also the British royal family. So the Caring Group was one of the guardian companies that was part of it. So it's like, yeah, that's. And you look at all the other ones. Oh, what's the other guardian? One of the biggest guardians, the Estee Lauder Group. Okay, well, you have Ronald Lauder is, he's the president of the World Jewish Congress. Okay, he's part of Jeffrey Epstein's mega group, right? And who was the president of the World Jewish Congress before Ronald Lauder? Edgar Bronfman, who's also part of the Epstein mega group, right? And he started Birthright Israel, right? So all the people, all the Jews from around the world that are getting a free trip to Israel, that's sponsored by the Bronfmans. So where does their money come from? They're literally the Jewish mob in Canada. But obviously have like a way bigger influence out of all the different mobs. Like anyway, that they had NXIVM. Like they were the ones that were trying during the Arab Spring. They were trying to put. They were trying to place a leader specifically in Libya, right? It's just like it's just absolutely insane. Like all of this traces back to the same group of people, right? I mean, even this guy, right? So he's in the creative artists agencies. I think that's with Harvey Weinstein, right? And his wife is Linda Evangelista, and she was married to this guy Marie, who had a modeling agency, right? And she was a model. And they were abusing young girls, right? And they were even selling girls to Adnan Khashoggi. That's who Jeffrey Epstein was doing arms trafficking with. Okay. So it's like, it's not even a hop and a skip away from Epstein every single time. It's just completely connected, right? And anyway, And the mega group, right? They're really deeply tied with Mossad. So it's like, and so what's their connection to Mossad, but also Birthright Israel? They're getting like these kind of agents, people go through a screening process / training process to basically be an asset for Mossad. It's like, and then you even look at like the list of all the donors, right? Here's the list of all the donors for, this is a list that I guess was found of Netanyahu's, right? And you look at Netanyahu, who supposedly was some kind of go with Epstein, was doing something with Netanyahu and Jamie Dimon. I don't remember the exact, but like you just look at this list and the number of Epstein people, right? I don't even know all of them by name, You have Ronald Lauder. You have just the ones that I've done research on. You have Rupert Murdoch's definitely deep within the Epstein thing. You have Lily Safra, Joseph Safra. I don't know what that says. Moses Safra. All the Safras were connected. You have another Lauder. David Geffen was definitely connected, right? Les Wexner, definitely connected. Edgar Bronfman, right? Chaim Sabin, also definitely connected. I think Henry Kravis, I can't remember. But yeah, Chaim Sabin, definitely. It's just like it's just insane. It's just absolutely insane. And then it's like you have, Ronald Lauder, right? Like here's Jacob Rothschild, right? He's getting awards from, he got the Herzl Award from Edgar or from the World Jewish Congress, right? And here's here's that guy with a Rothschild, the Pinot guy, or Pinault, with I think it's David Rockefeller or David Rothschild. But then here's him. He was the person that Emmanuel Macron wanted him to head up this fashion pact, which I don't know exactly what it was, but I think there's probably a lot of money that came through that. I'll just say, but Emmanuel Macron worked at Rothschild Co. Right, so it's just like it's so many connections that it's actually difficult to even draw it on a mind map. Like it literally is. Like I've kind of even given up trying to draw it on a map, just because like how do you even I'll have to switch my screen to show oops. So even just like zooming out, oops, like I can't even see all the connections, right? Like it's there's so much going on. That's like literally just one of them. It won't even show you the pictures because it's too here's the one for inclusive capitalism, right? Here's Jeffrey Epstein with the Pope, right? This is right before this comes up, right? Or was it 2012? Okay. I mean, it's right around the time they're setting this up, right? So I'm sure that he was part of it. Kind of odd that he stepped down. No popes ever stepped down. And then you have, the Google CEOs, Sergey Brin and Larry Page. They're part of inclusive capitalism. They're both connected to Epstein, right? Mark Carney and Ghislaine Maxwell, they're hanging out. Mark Carney's really deep within the inclusive capitalism thing, right? Oh, this was actually. Oh, this wasn't. Oh yeah, Sanford Wheel. So I was right. It was Wheel. So this is who is the Alpha Epsilon Phi, right? Is Sanford Wheel, right? And he was, and Jamie Dimon, there's a young Jamie Dimon, was his protege, right? So Jamie Dimon is part of inclusive capitalism. You also have a huge part of it is, what do you know? The Milken Institute, right? You follow anything like, oh man, it's just overwhelming to even try to talk about it. And it's really frustrating when someone wants to just avoid the conversation, right? Like, it's like, it should just be straightforward. Like, let's just address these things. But, it's also just odd when, someone can say, I don't know who the Hyksos are, and I don't care that all the early historians thought it was the Jews. My mom told me that I came from Adam, right? And she never said anything about the Hyksos, so that means they don't exist. And it's like, that's insane. That's insane. Sorry, Adam, but that's I mean, my opinion is it's insane. Like, it's just like history, right? There's archaeology about it, right? There's huge records, right? I mean, people disagree on whether the Hyksos, attacked the Egyptians, whether, they first were believed to have come down in chariots, and Egypt couldn't really respond because they didn't have chariots, because that was that long ago. It was like 1900 BC. And so they came in, they conquered, and, Egypt finally kicked them out after several hundred years. Yeah. But to say, like, I don't know and I don't care, and like I'm right, and like I know, like, how dare you say I'm not full blooded, like, what? It's like the oldest Hebrew Bible is only 1,000 years old. Like, think about that. That's not like, so you're saying you're basing something that's 1,000 years old is the best way to know what's happened over the last 10,000 years? So, like, just ignore all of archaeology and just say, like, oh, well, this book that's 1,000 years old is more important than all the books that are 2,000, 2,500 years old, 3,000 years old, right? Like, how is it that, like, and when you look at how that book was written, it was written in Alexandria in Greek, right? And like, where were they getting these stories? Where they're getting them from Elephantine, right? Which was like north of Egypt. And that's why the Dead Sea Scrolls had apocryphal books, like the Book of Enoch was, but they didn't want that, because when they were compiling it all the way back in 300 BC in Alexandria, they didn't want to include it because it was so specific. And probably because people would know exactly where it came from and that it was counterfeited, right? So it's just like, it's just really crazy to me, that we can't have like adult conversations. And the whole Estee Lauder thing, right? So I just jump around, but like, it's like all these movements, right? These whole propaganda movements of, the Me Too movement to inclusive capitalism, the Arab Spring, Black Lives Matter, Revolution of Dignity, the Paris Agreement, COVID, the Russia invasion of Ukraine. Like, why is it that all the same players are pushing these things along? And then look at who has made the most amount of money. Something I just saw last night. This Larry Ellison. I saw a chart. It was like richest people in the world from 2017, and he had $50 billion. That was 2017. Somehow he has $200 billion now. Like, how does that happen? I don't know. It's crazy. Also, there's definitely more of a BP connection. Oh, did I already have? Wow, that's crazy. I already had. Let's see. Anyway, that guy he mentioned, like, I think his ex is the same as this guy's ex. That's a really small world. That's really funny. Anyway. Yeah, that was a lot. I would love to have more of a conversation, because I think it matters. I don't know. I just, it literally keeps me up at night knowing that they already have the technology to identify people by not even just their face, because they can already do that, but by the way they walk, right? And, it's like, the technology exists. Like, it definitely already exists. I don't know if people have already made them or not, but to make drones, right? Quadricopters with guns on them. I mean, the rollout of just giving AI a hit list and saying, all right, clean it out, right? That would not even cost a lot of money. You think each drone, some gun on it, $500 maybe. And then AI is doing it. You don't even need people to fly it. You just say, okay, take down the hit list. It tracks your phone, tracks everything. Boom. It could happen all in one day, right? So for me, I'm absolutely terrified that the people making those choices have a different way of measuring value. And if DNA is part of that, and if it's Jews are human and everyone else is subhuman, that's terrifying. That's absolutely terrifying. And I don't know why people don't want to talk about this. We really need to talk about this. And I'm open to good debates. I'm not like, I see there's things that people don't talk about that would be more of a pro-Israel thing, right? I realize that, the Ben Gurion Canal, right? That has interest to America, right? I don't think we need to kill people to take it, right? I mean, it is a strategic thing, but it's also weird that there's no U.S. military bases in Israel. Like, why don't we have a military base in Israel? Like, why? Like, we have our biggest military base in Qatar, so why don't we have at least a base? And we're the ones saving them from Iran, but we have to do it from other countries. Like, can someone make that make sense? Like, I don't know. It's just really weird to me, right? Like, anyway, I don't think real conversation is happening. I do appreciate people that are putting good things out there. I think that there are some rational voices, and shout out to them. But anyway, I love you all, and maybe we'll address this again. I don't know if Adam will want to come on for round two. Maybe I could just literally make a list, like, hey, can we just go down these questions, please?